Okay, welcome back. We are continuing our live stream of Andromeda 6. We are on chapter 4. There's no chapter 6 yet. Right. So, we were found on a planet. We had no memories. All we knew was our name. Not even our last name, just our first name and our pronouns. And we were on the ship called the Andromeda Six, crewed by these 6 individuals here, not him, just these 6. And we traveled with them to a planet called Terranium to lay low for a bit. And that's where we found out we weren't just some random person from the main planet in the system. We were the youngest royal of the royal family, and the only one who survived the coup that happened just before we lost our memories. I wonder why we lost our memories. And we can't stay on Terranium, so we have to go to another planet to get a cloaking device. And that's where we're picking up, is heading up to this other planet called Cursa. Threat detected Cursa. So here we go. There are 3 things I know for sure. 1, I am the last remaining member of the Pegasus family and heir to the throne of Goldus, the only living threat to the usurper king, Jess Zogak. 2, my only friend and closest companion has deceived and betrayed me, and in turn brought about the murder of my entire family. That was the redhead. 3, I am lost and alone in this vast universe with no one to guide me or help me decide what to do next. The last week has been brutal. With the ship on course to Cursa, I've had more than enough time to reflect on the events of Terranium and try to come to terms with the life that I find myself living. I'm afraid I'm not doing a very good job of it. I tried to be strong, to conduct myself in a way that would make my sister proud, but with each day that passes, the cracks in my facade become easier to see. The sister in question was the oldest child of the king, and soon his human wife had said 3 wives. Which is really the only member of your family that seems to give a damn about you. Her name was Nerissa. And she said with the others. Sadly. So instead I hide, knowing that when I'm on my own, I don't have to pretend. My days are spent in solitude, silently trying to recall the faces from my past, panicking when even one insignificant tiny detail escapes me. And the nights are the worst. Faces haunt my dreams, beautiful and cold. My family, Nerissa, they whisper to me, cursing me, blaming me. When I wake up screaming, nauseous and drenched with sweat, it's only to find that I'm alone again. Finally, I have to admit to myself that I'm not okay at all. No, really? Okay, so do we stick with, the interrogative the captain that we are strong, or we will be strong, or do we pick a new one? Let's let the dice decide. Yes, of course. Have to let the dice decide. Okay, so since there are 3 options, I have a D6. So 1 or 4 would go with the first option, 2 or 5 the second option, 3 or 6 the third option. So here we go. D6. So we're sticking with our initial comment to Calderon. I can't keep going on this way, not if I have any hope of salvaging my future. It's going to be hard, the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It's not that it's time I keep moving forward. Though I haven't ventured out of my room more than a handful of times, I've been well cared for. Riona and Diana had been bringing me meals, so I rarely eat more than a few mouthfuls, but both of them seemed more and more concerned with each the both of them seeming more and more concerned with each day that passes. Captain stopped by to check up on me, and I could safely say that comforting others is certainly not one of his greatest strengths. I appreciated the gesture. And every day I wake up, I'll find a new drawing from Bash stuck to the front of my door. The drawings usually depict a certain assassin in various situations, but as ridiculous as they are, they manage to make me smile. June and Damon, and by the way, there's a couple of those. June and Damon I haven't seen, and the more I think back on my last conversations with them, the more I find myself pulling their words apart. Shock and stress has turned me into a recluse, and the more time goes by, the less I want to face the world. So yeah, we have some drawings here, and a potted plant grew more homey. And I don't remember if these were there before. My thoughts drift back to my meeting with Vex, and the more I think about it, the more confusing the situation becomes. He used me to find the secrets of the past, and I can't stop thinking about the attack. I can't stop thinking that the attack was all my fault. Everyone to the bridge. We'll be coming up on Curse in a few hours, and we need to make sure we're prepared. Be prepared. Okay, I'm done. I step onto the bridge per the captain's orders, though I'm stopped in my tracks by a dark shadow cutting me off. I give Damon a tired look. I say that I don't have the energy to play his games right now. Good morning, Your Highness. Ready for an adventure? If you don't send me out before we get there. He puts a hand over his heart in mock defense, but I don't miss the grin that tugs at the corner of his lips. Would you believe it if I told you I've changed my ways? I swear it, as a man of honor. I'm tempted to snort at the ridiculousness of his claims, but I hold it in. You don't have any honor, Damon. He stops and studies me, his smile fading. I might have been a little hasty. You think? You have to understand that the people on the ship, sure, they're a pain in my ass, but they're as good a family as I'll ever have. Wouldn't you do whatever it takes to protect the people you love? Okay, so another option. So, same as before, one or four, first option, 2 or 5, second option, 3 or 6, third option. 5. Kinda like this beat. Your tactic makes sense, even if it was awful. The thought still hurts, but deep down I know it was a rational decision to make. Now, even though you think it's best that I weren't here, I'd rather just move past it and do what we came here to do. Damon fixes me with a stare as glacial as the air surrounding us. You're still putting words in my mouth. I never said I didn't want you here. But you said it might be wipe the bounty from our heads, but trust me, Your Highness, I've dealt with worse things than a bounty from a madman. I shook on my feet uneasily, raising an eyebrow at him. If this is you trying to apologize, you're doing a shitty job of it. He snorts and flicks me on the tip of my nose playfully. All I'm saying is, it's your own choice if you want to sleep with one eye open, so you won't get any trouble from me. Unless you ask for it. I roll my eyes, pushing past him to join the others near the cockpit. Good, you're all here. Calderon addresses the group who stands around me, his mouth set in a grim line. We're not far from Christian now, about 3 hours until we land. Besides Tony, we've all been here before, so you know the drill. The crew nods and murmurs, so the captain addresses his orders at me. Directs his orders at me. Why did I say addresses? I don't know. Stupid brain. So draw attention to yourself, carry a weapon at all times, and for the love of all things holy, don't take off anywhere on your own. Understood. I finger the knife at my side, the only weapon I have available. Do I get a gun, too? Caroline gives me a severe look, and I try not to shy away from it. Do you know how to use one? No. Then you'd be a danger to everyone around you, including the crew. Upon seeing my crestfallen face, he sighs softly. After Cursor, we can train you how to use the gun safely. Until then, your knife will work well enough. I know, it's so a little disappointed, but I understand the risks. Calderon continues giving out orders. It seems that everyone has a job to do on this ship. Everyone except me. Damon, get our contact on the comms and have them prepare for our landing. Rihanna, we might be away from the ship for a while. I need you to make sure we have medical supplies with us. June, make sure we have enough ammo for the trip. And Bash, everything in the hold needs to be secured. It'll be a rough landing. Damon slinks away to do as ordered, with Bash following close behind. Rihanna remains, her forehead furrowed and her arms hugged around herself. You know I can't carry a gun, Calderon. I won't. I need you to, for your own protection, and the crew's. But what if I can't control myself? You know what happened the last time She trails off and Calderon's face softens, and he lets out a long breath. You can handle this, Rihanna. I know you can. She says nothing, still looking as uncertain as ever, until June steps forward and places a hand on her shoulder. I've got something you can use. It's non-lethal, but powerful enough to pack a punch. Rihanna hesitates, but when she finally nods her head in acceptance, he gives her a small, encouraging smile. Come on, let's go get it ready. With the crew dispersing to prepare for landing, Calderon steps towards me. Especially don't disclose your true identity to anyone outside the crew. If someone asks, we picked you up on the Serenium as a navigator. But I don't know how to navigate anything. Calderon stops and thinks, his head shifting to the side. That's the time you learned. Not gonna roll the dice for this one, because, yes. I was wanting to travel, you know. Well, now you've got your chance. I'm just sorry the circumstances aren't different. I swallowed down the lump in my throat, trying to not think about it too much. Yeah, me too. He waves to one of the terminals just behind the cockpit. It shows a large screen, sectioned into a grid, with various colored lights and controls surrounding it. This terminal here tracks our course and highlights any obstacles along the way. You can also use it to find the best point of entry to planets. I lean in to take a closer look, my head reeling. I don't know what any of these things mean. How long do I need to pretend to be a navigator? Just until I get the CD and get our cursor. Then we can decide what to do next. Almost instinctively, my fists clench at my sides. When I speak, it's so quiet, I may as well be talking to myself. Whatever we do, we have to stop Sovak. We will, Tony. My eyes meet his, and I see the same emotions reflected in him. Anger, betrayal, loss. I know now that he wants the exact same thing I do. He sees Sovak made accountable for his actions, and the system brought to peace. Calvin may not always be the most pleasant person to deal with, but I can trust him on this. Because maybe I'm not as alone as I thought. I have something else for you. He takes something from his guy's jacket and hands it over to me, a thin piece of metal. The holopad. It'll let you look up anything you want. Yeah, I know what it is. Push a small button on the side and the holographic screen lights up. I used to have one of my own, but it was restricted in what I could use it for. My brother, Arlo, the most reckless of all my siblings, once took it and dropped it in a garden fountain. Good. Start searching Cursa. It'll help give you an idea of what we're in for. With the nod, I retract the screen and place it in my pocket. Yeah, this one. Because the other one ends the conversation. I haven't had a chance to flirt with him yet. Of course we're not going to end the conversation. You've been to Cursa before? A couple of times when I was training for the guards. That's a division that steps in and deals with disputes when the councils call for aid. I'm sure I'm so surprised that it was one of the first divisions to be corrupted by Zovak. Corrupted? Calderon gives me a grim look. By the time Zovak launched his final attack on the palace, he had already replaced half the Crown Council with his spies, and had a majority of the guard taking his orders. He spread through the system like a plague, worming its way into the veins of the powerful and the influential. When the time came to take the throne, I doubt he even had to lift a finger, besides the ones he used to put the crown on his head. I had no idea. Of course he didn't. Zovak is a master manipulator. Not your fault, Tony. None of it is. Zovak would have gotten what he wanted, one way or another. You can't blame yourself. I know what he's saying is true, but somehow I'm still having a hard time believing it. Why are you being so nice to me? He hesitates, and I can see he's caught off guard by the question. Eventually, he runs a hand over his face and sighs. When I joined the guard, I swore an oath to protect the rulers of Goldish. I may not be guard anymore, but I have a duty to you. Try not to make that too difficult for me. Look at this face! So much. Just. Okay. Search. This is why we continue talking with him. There it is. Okay, got my D4. So I number first option, even number second option. I don't like both of them. One. Are you sure that's the only reason? Because it sounds to me like you might enjoy having me around. He has to laugh, his blue eyes softening after he rolls them playfully. I suppose it's not all that bad. It's nice having someone new to talk to, at least. Cast out the smile that pulls at the corners of my mouth. I can't say I've had many people in my life who have enjoyed talking to me much. Okay. Odd number first option, even number second option. One again. Really? Let's see what I get if I roll it again. Oh, I got a 3. So we're still doing the first option. I like talking to you too, even if it's only about something boring like navigation. He raises an eyebrow, but a smile remains. Good, because I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. But we could talk about something less boring next time. He gives me a gentle tap beneath the chin before he exits the bridge, leaving just in time for me to have a blush that spread across my cheeks. You're calming myself enough to think straight. I decide what to do next. So, depending on which option you pick, that will change who you talk to. You don't get to talk to Damon or June. Damon's doing his own thing, and June is still avoiding you. The fourth option, you don't talk to anyone. So, stay on the bridge. I wonder who you talk to. Head to the docks. Again, I wonder who you talk to. Or take the walk. Who's left? We've talked to Kitalphan, we're not going to talk to June or Damon. So, obviously, stay on the bridge, we talk to Aya. Head to the docks, we talk to Bash. And take a walk, we talk to Riona. And I've been indecisive about who I'd want to romance here, but I finally made up my mind. But let's just, for the hell of it, see what we get when we roll the D6. So 1 and 4 would be the first option, 2 and 5 the middle, 3 and 6 the last. Oh, wow, that went far. 3. So we would talk to Riona. But that we are going to talk to Aya. And I really like Aya. She's fun and peppy, but there's pain hiding underneath. And the developers have indicated that we will learn more about each of the characters over the course of the game. So, excuse me. First, we're going to learn a bit more about Damon and his background. Next chapter is going to be more about one of the others, and then so we're going to learn about each of them. So some people have said that there seems to be more focus on certain characters, and the developers are like, don't worry, the other characters will get their chance to shine. We'll get to learn more about them. So I'm really looking forward to it. So, right. Okay, with life sets, I make my way towards the pilot seat where I currently sit. Hey, Tony, need something? Not particularly, no. My company is something special in itself, I guess. Come on, take a seat. Cap will never know you took his place for a while here. She gives me an easy smile when I return and to take a seat in the co-pilot's chair. I am just going over some settings before we land. Usually I keep this baby on autopilot, but the curse in the atmosphere isn't something just any AI can handle. I have to take charge to make sure we get there in one piece. So, neither of these is going to end the conversation. It's just going to take it in a different direction. And you'll get a third option either way. And I already know which third option to pick there. So, yeah, I've done both of these, obviously. So, odd number first option, even number second option. So here we go. What the heck? What is with you and one? So I got a 2 that time. So this next one will decide it. 4. So ask about the universe. I find myself drawn to the view outside the large window in front of us, the endless space, speckled with stars and planets and universes I've never seen before. Have you visited a lot of places? In Celiota? And elsewhere? Turns her gaze outside, pursing her lips. As you already know, I didn't really travel much back in the day. Until I joined the Guard, all I'd ever known of Celiota had been Kitalphan and Goldus. Ever since, I visited pretty much everywhere in Celiota, even Bochuan, while from a distance, obviously. Never been outside of Celiota, yet. She turns her head to face me again, throwing me an easy wink as she slides down a bit on her seat. Someday I will, and I'll even let you stow away on my ship if you want to tag along. The laughter is infectious. I can't help but join in at the honorable mention of my lovely nickname. Would I take Rats on her offer if I had the chance? Drop everything and leave to brave other systems? I'm not sure, but it's an idea. I saw the dry lump in my throat when memories of the last person who talked to me about traveling threatened to surface, forcing myself to focus on the present and on the people who care about me, on Aya. The last sure looks like a deep thought. Credit for it? Okay, so, oh yeah, that's right, this one. Carefully I gazed back on her, smirking when I realized she too had been looking at me. Nothing much. I was just trying to picture you as a space pirate. I must say it is quite the appealing image. Bold of you to think I'd ever look less than appealing as one. Warm pulls in my stomach, my grin stretching even further as I catch her eyes darting to my lips. As a Pegasi royalty, surely you understand that it would be my duty to find you and punish you. And this is why the reason I picked that one, because it makes Aya blush. You don't just say that with a straight face and leave it at that. Her cheeks flush immediately, hands tightening on the leather armrests on her seat. Why not? Because it's not fair. Punishment hardly ever is. Not that. Aya rolls her lips, her thighs squeezing together as she tugs on her braid, eyes darting back outside before she speaks up again. Voice hardly more than a whisper. Not fair if you're all bark and no bite. Aya, I promise I'll only bite if you ask me to. A strangled sound escapes her, sinking even further on her seat as she bites down on her lower lip. Purple eyes glare weakly at me, and I struggle not to laugh at the exasperation on them. I'll hold you to that, tough one. I smile at the prospect, but I've teased her enough for now, so I decide to drop the subject. We should be arriving soon enough. I'll let everyone know. So if there's still something you wanted to get done before we land, now is the time. I nod, giving her a small smile as I stand back up, stretching my arms behind me. Tony? Yes? You're not alone, okay? What? You're not alone with this, whatever this mess is. I know I don't come across as the most reliable person here, but I just wanted you to know that I, all of us really, have your back. You don't have to go through this on your own. I nod, letting her words sink in and give me strength. I'm definitely starting to realize that. Thanks for coming to talk to me, Tony. We should do this again sometime. It's impossible not to return the warm smile she gives me. Thanks, Aya. But yeah, as you can see, there's definitely room for variation in the game, and I appreciate that. Some games if you want a certain outcome, you have to pick certain options, and this one, you get a little bit of wiggle room in that respect. I leave Aya on the bridge and head back to my room, pulling out the holopad Calderon had given me and navigating the home screen. Talking with Aya has made me feel better about the situation I'm in, and I'm finally beginning to realize I'm stronger than I thought. Typing close into the search bar, I scroll through the various results that come up for it. Mostly I learn about the planet itself. Classified as a storm planet, Cursa is often at the mercy of the violent thunderstorms that wreak havoc on the surface. Civilization itself is divided by districts, 15 in total, and wasteland zones. There are a couple of Goldblian news articles covering civil unrest on the planet, but besides that, I can't find much else. Eventually, I took the holopad back into my pocket next to the music box I stole there, and lay back on my bed. I'm sure I'll learn all about Cursa soon enough. Everyone get your asses to the bridge and buckle in. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Gotta love Aya. When I reach the bridge, I take the seat in front of the navigation panel, making sure the seatbelt is safely in place. The screen in front of me blinks and beeps, and while I suspect the ship's position on it easily enough, I have no idea what the rest of it means. There's a lot to learn if I'm going to be a convincing navigator. Everyone else takes their seats just as the ship begins to rumble and shake. Pardon me. Looking forward to get a better look, all I see outside the cockpit window is dark gray cloud cover and frequent flashes of lightning. Rain lashes against the glass as Aya concentrates on her course, Calderon co-piloting from the seat beside her. We need to descend quickly or the storm will push us off course. Oh, I had no idea. Here I was taking a joyride through the storm for fun. You won't be making jokes when a ball of lightning hits us and go plummeting to our death. You won't be making jokes when... Wait a minute. Real mature, Aya. That's right. She echoes him. You won't be making jokes with the bolt of lightning hits us and go plummeting to our death. Real mature, Aya. The two of them continue bickering as we descend through the clouds, the ship jolted every which way by the wind and rain. I like their relationship. Very sibling-esque. The lights flicker overhead and a thunderous crash ripples through the ship. I grip the sides of my seat, thankful for about securing me in place as we're thrown from side to side. I'm just imagining, like, Star Trek or Star Wars, where more Star Trek than Star Wars, when you're in the ship and you're thrown and everybody goes from side to side. Or if you go on any ride at an amusement park and you get tossed around in your seat. We pick up speed, shooting through the clouds faster and faster, Ayame's knuckles glowing white from where she grips the thrusters. We're gonna die, we're gonna die, we're gonna die! Shut up back there, I'm trying to concentrate on keeping you alive! Concentrate harder, I have too much to live for! With a full push, we break through the storm. Below us lies the sprawling city, barely visible through the layers of mist and fog that cover it. There are lights scattered here and there, but overall, the place gives off the kind of darkness that makes my skin crawl. Bunker up ahead. Calderon announces, and the ship's frozen enough for me to make out the crumbling, dilapidated buildings we pass overhead. When Ayame slows us to a complete hover over an enormous building that looks like a factory, we let out a breath of relief. We made it through one storm, but who knows what else may be waiting for us. So they've safely landed on Cursa. Leaning against one of the crates in the docks, I quietly watch how the crew gathers everything they need before disembarking, each and every one of them eager to be done with the Cursa as soon as possible. I can't say I don't feel the same way. The tone of the crew is solemn, and there doesn't seem to be a single thing that makes the trip here worth it, besides the CD. They don't know how they expect to pay for that particular piece of tech. For people who don't remember, the CD is a cloaking device. My pocket grows heavy as I weigh my options. I don't want to be a burden on this ship. I've been given a place, a position, and I intend to earn it. Throwing my fingers around the small Kitalphan music box in my pocket, my confidence falters for a moment. The music box is a memento, the only piece of my past I have left. I don't need it to remember. Not anymore. It's only a trinket, nothing more than a material possession, and one that could help us leave this planet sooner rather than later. I told myself I need to be strong, and in a way, it's helped me to prepare for this moment. This music box will always be precious to me, but I've accepted that this is what I have to do. This is the first step towards taking control of my own life. I've got a plan. I just hope the crew will understand what I'm trying to do for them. Damon? I take my chance as the second-in-command strolls past me, an unreadable expression clouding his features. He seems half lost in thought when he turns to me, drowning in memories of this place I can't even begin to fathom. What? His voice is as sharp as a razor, and I'm just reminded of his plan to sell me out just the other day. But he's assured me I don't have to worry about that anymore, and I have no choice but to believe him. Well, what do you want from me? Well, someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed. About an apology for starters. His lips tilt into a self-satisfied smirk, though his eyes are still distant. Like for once, he's not even making an effort to get under my skin. Thing is, I'm not a fan of those. Would empty words of apologies ease your royal heart? I'm not in the mood, nor do I have time for his little games. It's best we get down to business already, before the rest of the crew notices we're taking too long to follow them. Forget it. I need you to sell this for me. What? Taking the music box from my pocket, I grabbed Damon's wrist and placed it at his hand, giving it one last look. Closes his fingers around the trinket, and I look away before my resolve falters. You sure? Yes, I know the crew said they don't want me to sell it, but I want to. Okay. So, odd number first option, even number second option. 1. What is it with you and 1? For Pete's sake. That's a 4. Okay. And a 2. And a 1 and a 2. If the greatest things are different, I don't want to be forced to do things behind their backs like this, but there were a lot of things I wish had been different in my life. I can't change the past. I want to do what I can now, but I need help. I don't know what had pushed me to open up to Damon about people. Maybe it's knowing he won't judge me for it. I know he understands what it's like to want to take control of your own life. You're from Clarissa and you know things. I'd like to discuss if we have enough money for the CD without jeopardizing supplies or anything. Please. I fix him with a determined look. I've made my decision and I know it's the right thing to do. His face is still a mask, devoid of any expression, but his eyes are finally focused, and it feels like this is the first time since we started talking that he is truly seeing me. Won't you do it? Won't you let go of my arm? Realize when I hand let go of his wrist as I gave him the music box, I quickly do so when he points it out, giving him a tight-lipped smile as I straighten up. So then, consider it done. He slips the music box into his pocket, and just like that, it's gone. A little piece of my heart shatters, but it's a small price to pay for my future. A short, quick nod of his head later, and he walks away. Single, Your Highness, I've remarked, no joke. Something is truly off with Damon. What is this being on Cursor that has him like that? But I can't afford to think of that now. I watch him leave, pushing away the memories of the day Nerissa had given me the gift. Wherever she is, I hope she's proud of me for taking this first step. I know she would have done the same thing in my shoes. With renewed resolution, I raise my chin and prepare myself to face whatever comes next. Stepping off the ship, we find ourselves in a bunker. We find ourselves in a bunker as large as an aircraft hangar. The metal walls and casings have been rusted by both time and, no doubt, the weather raging outside. And the smell of ozone hangs in the air, thanks to lightning. Saying it's an aircraft hangar, that doesn't say much. I don't know if those sizes are supposed to be standardized or not. But it depends on how big an aircraft we're talking about. But I get what they're saying. It's huge. Ramps separate us from another space below, filled with people running back and forth. Shipping containers and weapon racks litter the space. The tall metal doors further down indicate that the place is larger than it first appears. A symbol covers the door from top to bottom, A red moon tearing through a dark sky. I a nearby bot who guards the closest door, armed to the teeth with the kinds of weapons I've never even seen before. A chill runs down my spine at the gaze it tilts my way, its red eyes blinking as it focuses in on us. Circle closer to the crew. Should we introduce ourselves? We already have. Looks like our contact is running late. Vash and I stand together, taking in the sights. Of everyone, they seem the most excited to be here. I'm dying to take a look around. Did you see that MM-35 over by the ramp? I bet June's aching to get his hands on it even more than I am. Calvin clears his throat loudly and Bash looks out of sight, leaning back against the railing. Captain looks less than impressed by our host's shyness, though that doesn't surprise me in the least. I decide to stick with Aya and Bash for the moment, hoping to get more information from them. Who are we meeting anyway? Aya folds her arms over her chest, her halo flickering in front of her eye. They called her boss, but that's all I've got. Apparently she's an old friend of Damon's, but him and the captain aren't exactly in a sharing mood. You can say that again. I thought Damon would be happy to reunite with an old friend, especially one of the female persuasion. Ayame winks, and I don't miss the insinuation, especially when meeting is a woman. Friend, I'm not sure the assassin even knows the word. I'll bet you 100 credits whoever it is has tried to off him before, maybe more than once. I'm sure he gave it back as good as he got it. You know, it could be an old girlfriend. I wouldn't be surprised if both were true. I think you're onto something, Tin Man. Ayame lightly punches Bash on the shoulder while he chuckles, the two of them getting lost in the details of their high-stakes guessing game. Both? So you're trying to say they were friends, and they were trying to kill each other, and they were dating? How does that even work? Mr. and Mrs. Smith, anyone? My dad watched that last night, actually. I've only seen my roommates in college watched it once, and I don't remember much about it, but that it was interesting. Had a very interesting dynamic going. Wouldn't you like to know? Damon appears beside me like a specter. I almost jump out of my skin. His lips tilt at my reaction, and I see his face is trying to gain some of the mirth he was lacking earlier. If you're not telling, then I guess we'll just have to ask her when she gets here. Good luck trying to get anything out of her. The captain scoffs at the idea, his lips set in a permanent scowl that only seems to deepen by a second. Do you know her too? We've never met, no, but I know of her. Imagine Damon as a woman, but worse. Oh, please, you adore me, Kyle. Admit it already, won't you? You're late. No, you are early. We all turn towards the voice, sitting the masked woman, who makes her way towards us, her steps so quiet they could rival Damon's. The people she walks past all get some sort of salute. She's clearly the leader of this place, and despite her short stature, her presence is imposing. She steps up to Calderon, a hand shoved casually in the pocket of her coat. I'm assuming you're Cal. Calderon scowls at her, either lost for words or just desperately trying to rein himself in. Pulling down her hood, the woman presses a hidden button next to her mask that disapparates, revealing her face. I thought you'd be taller. Bash chokes on a laugh as she stops in front of us, the top of her head barely reaching the captain's shoulder. Features are delicate, but the glint in her eye makes it clear she's not trying to fool anyone. Don't call me that. Don't bother, she's not going to listen to you. Damon steps forward, putting himself half between the two of them as he smirks down at her. Of course I'm listening. I just find that Cal suits him better. You haven't changed at all. You wouldn't love me as much if I had. Damon chuckles, his posture relaxing as he reaches in to ruffle her hair, and she swats him away with a roll of her eyes and an easy laugh. Seeing him interact with someone in such a familiar way is strange. The way his shoulders relax, how it seems as the inner turmoil that he'd been experiencing earlier just vanishes around her. I can tell they're close in a way I'd never seen or expected him to be with anyone. Damon had said there was nothing worth remembering from this place, but maybe there had been someone. Let's wrap this up, shall we? I'd like to leave as soon as possible. Introductions are in order, then. This is Elisa M. Armfirst, current leader of the Crimson Dust Gang. Current. You say that as if there's any chance I'll be replaced. Never know when you might be despite the dust around here. That mystery is what keeps me feeling alive. Calderon clenches his teeth and hurries through the introduction, throwing my name in casually somewhere around the middle. Seems he hoped Alyssa wouldn't notice anything out of the ordinary, but her sharp eyes fell on me once he's done, her eyebrow lifted in curiosity. Should I call your fancy friend by their title, then? Calderon frowns, so I don't miss the way his shoulders stiffen. Tony is our navigator, so I don't see why that would matter to you. Of course they are. Besides being such a royal member of the crew in any case. Oops, I mean loyal. The smile she throws my way is nothing short of predatory, her mismatched eyes glinting as if she just stumbled upon unexpected treasure. The crew shifts around me, attention hanging thick in the air. I don't know how, but she seems to know who I am. I can't tell if that's dangerous or not. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. 2. A quick nod is all I offer. I don't trust her, but we need her, and I'd rather avoid giving any clues on where I truly come from. I have a crush. I would pick that if I were serious about romancing Damon or sex. But she maybe even certain others, but just yeah. A quick nod is all I offer. I don't trust her, but we need her, and I'd rather avoid giving any clues on where I truly come from. Pleasure, but I'm with the captain. We should get down to business. Her eyes narrow on me, the smirk on her face turning sharp. I suddenly wonder if I should have indulged in her petty small talk after all. Just as straight-laced as I expected. Some friendly advice? You might not want to steer people the wrong way around here. Unless you want to draw attention to, well, the obvious. Anyway, I assume you're here for some reason other than my delightful company. As we discussed, over our cons, we're here for the CD. How much is it going to cost us? Same as we agreed on. Don't think about short-handing me now, Cal. Fine, I'll arrange for the credits to be transferred. Just a tiny little favor, of course. Only so interrupts Calderon before he could say another word. Damon snickers, his lips tilting as though he expected nothing less. That wasn't part of the bargain. We never discussed anything other than the price, tough guy. We had a fucking deal. Heavy silence surrounds us, the smirk on Lisa's face vanishing and being instantly replaced by cold, cunning glare. Unease worms its way into my stomach, and her voice is short and clipped when she speaks next. Watch your tone, or I might charge you a fee for hurting my feelings. June places his hand on Kat's shoulder, taking his place in the discussion while Damon steps closer to Elisa, throwing her a look that has her relaxing her stance a little. Now, play nice, you two. I'm sure we can reach an agreement that's favorable to us all. Let's just keep it friendly, shall we? A knight in shining armor. How noble. I'm just trying to help. What sort of favor are you asking? You understand we can't stay here long. I'm sure you don't need us to ask anyone for you, so what do you want, huh? Follow me. We trail after Elisa, a little further into the bunker, where a large round table sits off to the side. As you already know, I'm the leader of the Crimson Dust, and we lead every district and wasteland to the west of Cursa, while the east side is controlled by the Azure Dawn. As she speaks, she presses a small button on the side of the table, and a holographic map appears. It depicts what I assume is Cursa, or the urban part of it, at least. We finally managed to push Azure further east here, and here, but then the fucking Chimeri scum came walking back in and took over this area here. I thought Cursa had always been a Chimeri stronghold. When did that change? Just a few years ago, Zobek decided to set his sights on a bigger prize, so his crew slowly started flocking away from Cursa to other planets at his command. Infiltration, assassination. He set the board up nice and neatly, ready and waiting for him to make his final move. You knew about his plans? The question escapes me before I could stop myself. Was the coup common knowledge this side of the system? Had they known and done nothing to stop it? Not exactly, no, but it was clear it would happen eventually. The Pegasi were never particularly beloved, and Zobek had always been openly against them. Then again, so had everyone around here. It's not like we had kept tabs on him after he cleared out, or like we gave a shit about pompous Goldians. We have our own issues to deal with thanks to your old man. I have to fight the inside of my cheek to keep myself from asking more questions. We're here on a mission. I need to focus. Anyway, yeah, that's when we took over operations on Cursa. Crimson and Azure were always big players around here. but the Chimera were bigger and a major pain in the ass. They take what little the people have with no apologies. The citizens in the districts have fled here, which has led to the overpopulation, but now we have numbers to stand against them and take the planet back. The area marked as the Chimera stronghold just now isn't Crimson territory. Why don't you let Azure handle their own business? Because the Chimera won't sell for that small piece of land. They start to attack my guys, getting in the way of my business, and of course, Azure is mine to take. So you want us to get rid of the Chimera for you? And let you have all the fun? Don't be ridiculous. I need you to go and deliver something for me, a message, and bring me back the reply. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, huh? Elisa cocks her head at that, shrugging. A heavy sigh comes from my side, and I turn to see Calderon pitching the bridge of his nose as realization dawns. You're working on a peace offering. A truce, yes. Most likely go right back to killing each other once we get rid of the Chimera. Why not take the chance to work together in the future, make amends, and give the people here a decent chance at life? Hmm. My difficulty is I'm debating whether I want to leave it up to the dice or roll or decide anyway. I'm going to make my decision. I'm not going to leave it up to the dice. Both of them have a point. It's hard to get over such deep resentment, but maybe their wishes for Cursa could drive them towards a better future if only they were willing to try. I understand it may be hard to overcome all this bad blood, but would it be in everyone's best interest to work together? The diplomatic solution is often the best. I'm sure the innocent citizens would be glad if the conflict came to an end. Lisa chokes on a laugh, running a hand through her hair as she regards my words. Can't tell if she took my advice seriously, but I'm certain even a ruthless gang leader can see the logic behind it. Honey, innocent is never the right word to describe a person. Unfortunate. The captain gives me a short nod, saying please I took a stance on the matter, one I'm proud of taking. Don't worry your pretty head about it, is all I'm saying. I have plans, but that's not important right now. All I know is I've been busting my ass trying to secure a truce with Azure, and I ain't about to let it all go to shit because some Chimera want to spread their wings. Where's the drop site? Western area on the side of the map, somewhere along the border of Crimson and Azure territories. Damon's eyes dart over the map as if he's already planned 5 different routes to get in and out of there. I'll do it. Who am I looking for? You're not going out there on your own. It's too dangerous. I'm the best man for the job, and you know it. He's got a point, Damon. What? Not you, too. Come on. Shit's changed out there. You've been away too long. Tension settles between them, a silent conversation none of us can understand. But them, until Damon lets out a deep breath and his shoulders slump in defeat. Tell them to expect only a couple of you. Doesn't matter who. None of you particularly blend in around here, but traveling in a small group should keep you from getting into trouble. And who are we meeting? Their leader, Zane. You go in and you get out. Simple as that. If it's that simple, why don't you go? Because my head is worth more than yours around here. If you say so, lady. Elisa looks him up and down, and by a smile that tilts her lips, I'd say she approves of him. Don't worry, I'll be sure to have the CD installed on your ship and ready to go by the time you get back. Those of you who remain are welcome to enjoy our hospitality while my crew gets to work. Snacks around the house. I'm assuming you have a safe route planned out. Quick nod, followed by a few commands, bring up a highlighted route. It's pretty straightforward, and it doesn't seem to cross any Chimerian territory, yet for some reason, it doesn't ease the tension building in me. This is the best we can do. It avoids any Chimera hotspots and known conflict zones, but I make no promises. Meaning we could still run into them at any given time? Pretty much, yeah. Half the fun. With a smile, Elisa switches out the map, tossing a small comm to Calderon. Choose your team and go. The map's in there, as well as what you need to deliver, so try not to lose it. Now, let's take those credits up front. Damon? Got it. Don't keep me waiting, Cal. With the wink Elisa tries to leave, Damon high on her heels. It still shocks me how relaxed Damon seems with her. It looks like he feels at home for the first time since I've met him. Yeah. Good reason. Laura's rare, genuine laugh echoes through the space, and I watch as she shoves him playfully, wearing a smile that looks nothing like the sarcastic smirk from earlier. I turn away when Elisa leads him through the door guarded by the bot, which I'm assuming leads to her private office, or quarters. Hmm. So we're not going to pick either of the first two options. So 1 or 4, this one. 2 or 5, this one. 3 or 6, this one. 5. Ooh. Elisa is certainly interesting, to say the least. She spent all this time talking to us, and the impression I got is that she's close with Damon and she has no chill. I must admit, I'm curious. I'd like to know more about her. So should we split up, Cap? Who's going to take the message? Leave it to whoever wants to volunteer. There will still be things to take care of around here for the ones who remain. I volunteer. I step up to Calderon before I can make an informed plan. Both him and I look surprised. But I want to go. I've set my entire life on Cultus. This is my chance to find out more about the system, to broaden my horizons, and do something useful for the crew. Corus doesn't like Terranium. If anyone recognizes you, I know, and they won't. I'll follow your rules. Just please let me do this. Calderon gives me a severe look, and I can only hope my promise is enough to convince him. I have no reason to go off on my own or follow any other ghosts from my past, not now that I know the truth. Vex, I shake the memories of him to the back of my mind. There's no time for that. He's long gone by now. 2 of us will be enough to keep them safe, Cal. I think I did do them some good to take a nice stroll through the slums. Well, as good as a stroll on Cursa can be, anyway. Fine. But you don't leave our side, Tony. Cursa is a war zone and you have no formal combat training. Yes, sir. Calderon scowls softens, and I try to keep my face neutral. I never expected he would let me go, but I'm glad he agreed. We should split up accordingly. Make sure each team is fit to handle both pickup and Tony's safety. June, you're with me. Ayame, go with Bash. Riona, you can pair up with Damon. Everyone nods in agreement. It's clear the crew have all been working together a long time and have strengths to complement each other. Tony, you can choose who goes with you. You're going to need to trust whoever you're with. Okay, so since I made it obvious as to who I'm going to eventually romance, should be no surprise. I'm picking these two. So you do get some unique dialogue if you pick Damon. I'd like Aya and Bash to come with me. Alright, this will be a piece of cake. We'll be in and out faster than a rocket. Calderon sighs and shakes his head at the duo, but still gives us a nod before heading off with June and Riona. My choice might not have been the most expected, but I don't regret it. Spending time with these two is always a good choice. I'm just glad I'm leaving this trusty old bunker and getting some fresh air. Isn't Cursa dangerous? Oh, he's just scared of Elisa. As if, stop ruining my street rep with Tony. He said she's a female version of Damon, only scarier. Am I wrong, though? Something tells me you wouldn't dare say that to her face. Look, it's not like Aya shuts him up with a playful shove on his shoulder, pushing him towards the exit while shaking her head and chuckling. Let's just get out of here before it gets late. I'd rather not avoid running into trouble around here, especially with how our little group seems to attract that shit like a magnet. She has a point. Out of the whole crew, we do seem to find trouble the most. I and Bash take the lead, and the 3 of us head out into the streets of Cursa. My first glimpse of the planet is as harsh as my expectations had been. It's still afternoon, but the sky is gray and covered by a layer of clouds so thick it's impossible to tell whether the faint light behind them comes from the sun or the constant lightning streaking across the sky. That's a lovely image. Bash takes a fright, his smile strained and his hands loosely gripping the strap, holding his rifle on his back. I swear he doesn't look forward to the prospect of getting in a fight here, but I don't doubt he would be swift to handle one. He checks the calm every now and then to ensure we're on the right track. Anna stays behind me, her arms hugged around us as she glances down the street. Eyes never lingering for too long in the same place. It's hard to tell what she's thinking, but like Bash, it's weird to see her being quiet like this. My thoughts slowly fade as we head deeper into the cursing slums, and instead I find my focus fixed solely on the sights of the city. The streets are packed with people, either heading in various directions or loitering around the dilapidated buildings. I don't know if people have noticed that. The Arcanotes tile, throw, sleep in, bread bar. A few wary glances are thrown our way, but most don't pay as much attention. The street is oddly clean, and I notice a young member of the Christian desk sweeping the sidewalk off to the side. We walk in a solemn silence, so I took the chance to survey my surroundings, discovering our boyfriend Celiota I'd never known or expected to be real. The further we get from the bunker, the worse the streets around us become. Narrow paths, dirty walls, small homes with even smaller windows. Some are even missing their roof or entire walls, but are still clearly being lived in. Makeshift shelters having been made from scraps of metal or large sheets of waterproof fabric. Is every district like this? You mean depressing and grim? If so, then yes. To be fair, some districts aren't all that bad. If you mean the entertainment sector, then sure, it has its perks. Though I doubt anyone's been enjoying them now with the canary running wild. I've never seen things here as bad as this. Bad in what way? Ash kicks a stray rock out of his path, and Aya rubs a hand over her face, her mouth set in a grim line. God is in Kitalphan right before it was destroyed bad. Curses growing supernova? No, nothing like that. It's a vibe and the mood around here. People are scared. There's too much hopelessness in the air. Fear and hunger drive people to do things they wouldn't normally do. I don't know what's worse, having a little possess taken away from you, or having this life be everything you've ever known. I can't help but pity them. I'm sure they don't want your pity. They probably love nothing more than to tear out that pretty armored girls and sell it for scraps. But it sucks either way. People shouldn't live like this. People deserve to have a chance to have hope. The mood seems to be affecting us all, and we walk along in silence for a while until I can no longer stand the sound of my own thoughts. I wish we could help them in some way. What we're doing now is supposed to help. So let's focus on getting this job done, yeah? Might be the first step towards change for this whole place. You never know. We continue on, the cold wind slowly chilling us down to the bone. People of varying species beg on street corners, and unsavory sounds echo from the shadows of the many sinister-looking alleys. That's lovely. Overhead, the sky is darkened, and the rain starts up once again, soaking through the fabric of our clothes and forcing me to wrap my arms around myself and shiver. Nearby, a child sits on an empty crate, his eyes wide and his hands outstretched as we pass by. I hesitate for a moment, falling behind. I don't have anything. The only of value I have I gave to Damon, so keep walking. I have absolutely nothing to offer him as much as I wish I did. The music box had been the only valuable item I had, and now it's gone. With a heavy heart, I keep walking, blinking through the rain to keep Ayame and Bash in my sights. Don't fall behind, you two. Ayame calls back to us with a sigh, and we hurry to catch up with her. It's not smart to pay attention to these kids. The streets aren't safe. All I see are starving children and people just trying to make ends meet. You'd be surprised at the lengths these people are willing to go. This is definitely not one where I'm going to leave it up to the dice. I understand your point, but it's not easy to turn a blind eye. That's just what they're counting on. Noise stirs in me. I get being hesitant, but there's no need for her to be this harsh on the people living on these streets. Why would you say that? These people are just trying to survive. She stops in her tracks, fists clenched tight with frustration. In case you already forgot, I grew up in very similar conditions in France. And if you also forgot about it, my brother died because he trusted too much. And I'm not ready to lose anyone else, including you. Ouch. She stops herself, biting down on her lower lip as regret and sorrow wash over her. I'm sorry, Tony. Her voice is a whisper, carried away by the rain. She turns her back on me and walks ahead, shoulders hunched. Cold weight on my shoulder jerks me out of my daze, and Vash gives me a sad smile. She sure puts up a good front, doesn't she? I had no idea she felt that way. We all have things we'd rather keep buried 6 feet under, kid. How are you doing with this place? Vash lets go of my shoulder, and we start walking again. He glances at his Sherman hand and flexes it in front of him. The shadow crosses his face, and I can't help but wonder what sort of memories he's trying to bury. Not as well as I expected. Guys directs a small, hollow group of people in an alley. Their eyes are bright, too bright, all seeming to fight over a small silver cylinder. Flash let out a shaky breath, shutting his eyes and turning away from the scene. Yeah, that sounds like people who are trying to do drugs. Here's what's in the situation itself. Boss, what's wrong? Nothing. Let's just get this done. We walk in silence for a good long while, but I'm happy for it. This place has put all of us on edge, and we can't afford to be distracted from our mission. I assume we're quite close to our destination. The streets have slowly become narrower, quieter, and more fitting of a secret rendezvous. So this is where we get a chance to flirt with one or the other, depending on who we're romancing. Before I realize it, I drifted towards Aya. Bash walks ahead, gaze cast down as he guides the way. Damn, Tony, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to crack like that before Her voice fades as she tugs on her brake while avoiding my eyes. We're gonna let the dice choose which third option. So odd number first option, even number second option. 4. It's alright, I don't want to lose you too. Aya turns to look at me with wide eyes, a soft blush tinting her cheeks. Come again? The question catches me off guard. I can't bring myself to repeat it under her full attention. I look down, watching the puddles under my feet, my cheeks already flaring up. Adorable. She chuckles and quickly closes the distance between us. When she notices I'm not stepping away, she quickly slides her arm around my waist, pressing her body next to mine. If we stick together like this, you won't be able to lose me, will you? I think so. She laughs at my awkward response. I try to keep my gaze away, but I can't help but look at her. Some flips, pursed into a pout, every curve of her body crisp and clear under her rain-soaked uniform, heat that radiates from where our bodies touch. I can feel myself grow dizzy, but I don't even consider moving away from her touch. I just thought you seemed a bit cold. Thought I'd come and help you out. It's proven that body heat is irreplaceable when it comes to survival. So how are you feeling now? I'm still a bit cold. Then I'll be sure to get you nice and warm once you're back on the ship. How does that sound? Before I can answer, Bash pushed his throat next to us, lips twisted in an amused smile, despite the outrageous look he stares at us. Okay, so if we want to fluster Aya, we would have to go back. And I kind of like that one better. So this one was sweet. I don't know what you're sorry for. Feisty Aya is quite appealing. My lips twist in a smug grin when Aya trips over her own feet while she looks at me, furious flush on her cheeks. Say what now? Don't act like you didn't hear me. I said. I stepped closer to her, leaning in to whisper in her ear. Feisty Aya is hot. Aya shivers when my breath hits her skin, goosebumps running through her body. She edges closer in reflex, but I step back, not willing to grant her the proximity she so clearly wants. Not that I'm interested. Not that I'm not interested. It's quite the opposite. I don't think the ready streets of Cursa are the prime location for this. Please, I'm not as strong as I look, okay? I'm just saying, it sure helped ease the chill from this bothersome rain, didn't it? She doesn't reply, mumbling under her breath as she rubs a hand on her neck, her gills fluttering softly. I don't need to touch my neck to know my own gills flutter the very same way at her motion, or making them even more sensitive. I turned her head my way, plump lips pursed together in a lovely pout. The sight is alluring on its own, with her rain-soaked uniform sticking to her body even more than usual, making for a strong contender. As much as I hate to interrupt seeing someone's own masterfully flustered packet rocket here, I'm afraid we've reached our destination. I stepped away from Aya, always taking a serious stance as we approached the meeting point. Let's get this job done. Half a dozen people blocked the way ahead, and an assortment of rifles, blasters, and pistols pointed towards us. I took in a breath, my nerves on edge. We stop abruptly, our empty hands held in front of us, to show we have no intention of fighting. They keep the weapons raised, but motion for us to come closer. One of the guys steps forward to meet us, a rifle in his hands and a machete hanging from the belt around his waist. What business do you have in Azure territory? Aya is just beside me, but before she has a chance to speak, and no doubt piss them all off, I cut in. We have a message from Elisa, leader of Crimson Dusk. She wants to offer a truce in exchange for your help running the Chimera off Cursa. Bash steps beside me, offering the comm to the one who had spoken. He doesn't take it straight away. Instead, he turns up his nose at it. You're the messenger, Tom. How do I know this isn't a trap? That thing could be a bomb. It isn't a bomb. That's what you'd say if it was a bomb. Look at my arm, you dimwit. You really think I'd make a bomb so useless I'd have to come and deliver it in person? I scowls at the man, intimidating despite her short stature. A ripple of impatience goes through me, and I'm sure the others are feeling it too. Look, we need to speak to your leader. It's important. The man looks us over, his eyes lingering on Bash's arm once more as he makes his decision. All right, we'll take you through, but your weapons stay here. Not a chance. I turn to the pilot, my eyes firm. Come on, we have to do this. She looks far from happy, but eventually she sighs and takes her blasters from their holster, handing them over. The woman steps forward to take Bash's rifle, which he hands over without a fuss. Follow me. Notice I didn't take your knife. We do as instructed, following the man as we're flanked on all sides by the other members. We don't have to go far, and I remember Elisa saying that they'd be expecting us. A man steps forward, taller than the others, and half bathed in darkness. From what I can see of his face, I notice a crooked grin pulling at the corners of his mouth. I see Elisa has a new mice doing her bidding these days, but we get here in the sun. And my headphones are dying. Just a second. There we go. Plugged in. I'm charging. Let's see if I put the plug in correctly. But you don't look as usual once we get here in the slums. He looks us over from head to toe, his dark eyes lingering on me longer than they should. Good, because your pack of rats here seem as dumb as a stick. Amy crosses her arms and glares at him, her tone nothing but short. But he simply chuckles. Name's Zane. I hear you have something for me? We do. A message from Elisa. Prince and Queen too busy to deliver a message to her old friend in person? I would have put on a pot of tea, maybe break out the best china for the occasion. He grins slow and wide, and I have no doubt that his tea would be laced with an extra special something for the rival leader. Bash tosses the card to Zane, who touches it quickly and extends the screen. He hits a button on a small black earpiece that loops around one of his ears and syncs it to the device, watching us as the message plays. Small holo screen from the device flashes different images, with the truth well take out from where I stand. After a minute or so, he takes in a deep breath, the grin webs from his face. Truth? I can't say I don't want those Chimera bastards out of the way, but how can I trust Elisa to keep her word? You can't, but she wants Chimera gone just as much as you do, maybe even more. Sounds like an awful big risk, but I'm not sure I want to take. He waves a hand in the air, and the soldiers around him begin to move out. A sickening feeling makes its way into my stomach as I realize we failed. Wait. I release my mouth before I even know what I'm doing. But Zane stops, glancing at me from over his shoulder. I'd get off my turf before my hospitality runs out if I were you. Not until you agree to the truce. I've already told you I'm not taking that risk. I shake my head in impatience, leaving him to see that this truce is the only way that Cursa has a chance at a future. You want to keep what you have, don't you? Then join with Crimson Dusk, because otherwise you'll lose it all. The United Front is the only way any of you have a chance of standing against the numbers of the Chimera. Lisa knows that too. That's why she's the one stepping up. Zane fixes me with a dark stare, and I swallow hard, wondering if he's going to raise his black and shoot me straight in the head just to be done with us. Instead, he pushes a button on the side of the comm and holds it closer to his lips. You've got a deal. Vash catches the device and Zane tosses it back his way. Thank you. Zane inclines his head towards me, that strange smile slipping back into place once more. Careful on your way back, little mouse. There have been more intimate faces spotted in these tests than just yours. Zora will escort you as far as our territory permits. After that, you're on your own. With one last wave of his hand, he disappears into the growing night, and a unit of his soldiers comes forward. We restore our weapons and we follow behind them, heading back the way we came. So I think the speech you give Zane depends on your response to Elisa earlier. I haven't tested that, actually. Anna steps closer to me, with Bash flanking my other side. Well, calling me surprised, Tony. Good work. Well, yeah, nice job, Tony. I stand with them each in turn, feeling proud that for once I could do something to help. The feeling quickly fades when the soldiers in front of us shout out, freezing me in place. Intruders, up ahead! Anna and Bash immediately raise their weapons, taking a defensive stance. What's happened? Positions! The Zora soldiers shift and form a semicircle right as a dozen figures in black armor emerge from the shadows surrounding us. I keep perfectly still as the figures approach, their presence ominous. The darkness of their uniforms makes them hard to see against the backdrop of night. There's one thing that does stand out. The glowing hawking symbol on each of their arms. Tilaari. I hisses the word and a chill runs down my spine. Stay close, Tony. I know we find a way to get into trouble. It's like we're cursed or some shit. Ginger ripples through the air as the Tilaari draw closer, and yet no one moves, waiting for the other to strike first. You don't have to wait long. One of these Zora soldiers fires at the Tilaari, and just like that, all hell breaks loose. Bash joins the front line, his eyes shifting to a steady, deadly red as he raises his rifle and starts cutting the Tilaari down with terrifying accuracy. Aya joins him, a blaster in each hand and a concentrated scowl on her lips. Soldiers drop like flies on both sides. I step back, my chest tightening in panic as my head moves back and forth, not knowing what to do. Both Bash and I work seamlessly with the Zora, taking out the Tilaari as quickly as they can. But for every Tilaari that falls, it seems like two more pop up in their place. Soon the Zora push back further and further, forcing them to fight in close quarters, and making the chances of them winning this fight seem slim. The two of them back up, ready fighting a group of Tilaari right in front of me. Bash's ammo runs out, and he drops the weapon, grabbing hold of Tilaari's face with his bionic hand and crushing it with a sickening crack. I look away from him quickly, horrified by the sight. With her blasters becoming ineffective in such close quarters, Aya launches herself at another soldier, jumping on his back and wrapping her legs around his neck with a hold of military precision, choking the man until he falls flat on the floor. Tony, run! Get to the bunker! Aya's voice rings in my ears, but I don't move. How could she expect me to lead them, knowing they're outnumbered? Get the fuck out of here! I hesitate, watching them struggle to hold the Tilaari back. Suddenly Bash appears in front of me, his metallic hand like ice on my shoulder as he shakes me to look at him. Go, Tony, we can't do this while trying to keep them away from you. Get back to the bunker, we'll catch up. He reloads his rifle and pushes back to join the fight, and finally I make a decision. I run. My feet hit the cold, cracked pavement as I streak through the alleys lit only by the crack of lightning streaking through the sky overhead. Rain pours from above, streaming down my face and chilling me to the bone. I run and run until my breath is ragged, until my lungs ache and burn, and the streets in front of me are blurred by the water streaming into my eyes and clouding my vision. I skid around a corner and then another, before finally coming to a stop, desperate to catch my breath. Looking around, I couldn't begin to fathom where I am. All I had thought about was getting away from the fight. I'm lost. Completely and utterly lost on this foreign planet with no idea where to go next. Panic streaks through me and my lungs tighten. I crouch down, gasping for air and struggling to draw in enough to keep my head from spinning. It's not supposed to be like this. I'm supposed to be stronger, learning how to stand on my own 2 feet, not a crumbling mess on the ground. I grit my teeth, fighting back, but the more I push, the worse it becomes. A strangled sob escapes me as I press my hands to my eyes and gasp for air, blocking everything out and falling into a world of darkness. And then another thought hits me. I could stay lost. My breathing calms as I consider it, my chest still aching but slowly coming back to life. I could stay lost on this planet, or I could go anywhere I wanted. There has to be a terminal somewhere where I could jump a ship and disappear. I could start a new life, be a new person. I could be just like everyone else. Tony. The voice cuts through the shadows and tears me from my thoughts. A voice that sends a cold shiver down my spine and a jolt through my chest. Footsteps echo over the rain-soaked pavement, and a pair of black boots enter my vision, followed by an outstretched hand. Tony, get up. Okay. Odd number we take his hand, even number we don't. I'm not sure which one I want. It's the button. I reach out and take his hand, feeling his warmth seep into my cold, cold skin. He hoists me to my feet in a stumble and hand press his chest to steady myself. Wrapping my hand quickly, I step away. Taking in a deep breath, I calm my mind, willing myself to appear stronger than I am. As he stares at me down through cold eyes, I steel myself against him. What are you doing here? I speak when my breath is held and I do so, and he cocks his head to the side. Why is he here? Is he following me? I have a job to do. What job? One that doesn't concern you. I thought I told you to lose the crew. I scoffed, staring him straight in the eyes and standing my ground. Why would I listen to anything you say? You're a liar. And you're an idiot. Do you want to die with them? Why would I? The gaze flickers to the sniper rifle strapped to his back, and I suddenly know what he's here to do. Realization hits me like a ton of bricks, knocking the breath from my lungs. He's hunting the crew. Okay, I'm not going to roll the dice for this one because you work for Zovek, don't you? So take me instead. Leave the crew alone. Why would I do that? Because surely I'm more valuable to him. He thinks for a moment, and something strange passes over his face. Surely you are, but those aren't my orders. Staring down through narrowed eyes, determination flowing thick through my veins. I thought I didn't have anyone left to protect, but I realize now that I was wrong. I have 6 of them. Beck smirked, sensing a change in me. Well, look who's finally fighting back. Took you long enough. No, you don't get to speak to me like that, not after what you did. His face falls, his eyes flaring wide. Something strange passes across his face, and for a moment I feel as though I'm staring at a memory. But why did you do it? Why did you work for him? Tell me that much. I ball my hands into fists at myself, hardening myself as I stare him down. Tell me. Lightning flashes and thunder booms overhead, and it takes all I have not to flinch at the waves rumbles through the buildings surrounding us. Something about Vex shifts in an instant. His eyes harden, his jaw goes tight, and when he speaks, his voice sounds as though it belongs to a different being entirely. Long live the king. Gritting my teeth, I prepare myself for my next move until something catches my eye. 2 figures emerge from the shadows behind Vex, and immediately they're on him, fighting to remove his weapon. I just land a hit on one of them, striking him square in the stomach, but before I can blink, I have him on his knees, his hands are straight behind his back. Are you okay, Tony? Aya sits closer to me, Vex's rifle held in her hands. Abash rubs at his stomach, cursing Vex for the attack. Don't worry, this Khmeri scum can't hurt you. Vex laughs, and all 3 of us rip towards him. Khmeri scum? You haven't told them about me, have you, Your Highness? I swallow around the lump in my throat, looking at my companions guiltily. This man was my royal guard. He deceived me into thinking we were friends and betrayed my entire family to Zovek. Oh, is that all? Nothing else you want to tell them? I narrow my eyes at him, refusing to say any more. He simply raises his eyebrows and chuckles. You made it all too easy, Highness. In an instant, I impulsively flashed from its holster, pointing it at Vex's head. We should get it into him now, erase our trail while we're at it. Bash widens his eyes at Aya, stepping forward. Aya, don't be reckless. Okay, now to leave it up to the den. I put a hand on Aya's arm, slowly lowering the weapon. No, I'm sure there's some ways to be useful to us. He works for Zovac, after all. You're right. With a frustrated sigh, I hold the listeners her blaster, nodding at Bash, who has a firm hold on Beck. Let's get out of here. Anna glares at Beck as she tightens a makeshift restraint on his wrist. They seem to find the situation nothing short of amusing. Here you go. Bash tosses me a palm he used to guide us before. When I hold it upright, a holographic map displays on the top, similar to Elise's map back at the bunker. Lead the way, and please be quick about it. Using the column as a guide, I lead us all through the winding alleyways and back to the main street we had come from. There are considerably less people hanging around, with the remainder disappearing by the second. After a while, I look back over my shoulder, making sure the others are still following, but another sight catches my eye further back. The other sense my distress while my line of sight to see the figures both come back, flat, standing on us. The Chimeri are coming. Hurry! We pick up the pace, going as quickly as we can, all with Vex in tow. I glance at the column to make sure we're on the right course, and it guides us back into the busy, Christmas streets. It doesn't take long before the people are dispersing the sight of approaching the Chimeri, sending them scurrying back into their homes. Unable to hide amongst the crowds any longer, we pick up the pace, following the map to ensure we're on the right path. Once we've put a little distance between ourselves and our enemies, I take the chance to glance back at Vex, who gives me a sly smile. If I didn't know any better, I think he'd probably really happy being led through the streets of Kerchak at gunpoint. He hasn't tried to fight it, at least. Up ahead, we're almost there. Walls of the bunker loom up ahead, promising sanctuary from our pursuers, their shouts growing louder as they close the distance between us. We make it just in time, flying through the doors of the enormous building and catching our breath as they close with a screech behind us. Ah, how good it feels to be safe and not wet. Speak for yourself, I still feel like a fish out of water. Well, that wasn't supposed to take this long. We ran into a problem. Clearly. Elisa regards Vex with cold eyes, lingering on the makeshift restraints around his wrist. I take it this is it? Yep, neat pain in the ass. The name is Sarah, actually. Oh, I know who you are, Vex, Sarah. The question is, what are you doing on my turf? When Vex says nothing, his smirk growing wider still, Elisa takes a step forward and glares up at him. Then she grabs him by the front of his jacket, forcing him down to her height. You should consider yourself lucky I didn't get my hands on you first. You don't appreciate Chimera trash on my planet. Your planet? Oh, you're cute. She pulls him even closer, eyes narrowing into thin slits when Vex twitches under her touch. His expression remains unchanged. Weird. What's weird? The glance between them, one in which she knows that I clearly haven't. Lisa studies Vex a moment longer before she shoves him backwards, ignoring him and my question completely as she addresses us. Cal's waiting for you on the ship. The TD is already installed. We're just helping out with some maintenance before you leave. Assuming you have something for me? I take the comb from her pocket, handing it over to Elisa with a smirk. You know, I haven't had a good fight like that in a while. I wouldn't call that a fight. We wiped the floor with them. Oh, really? Is that why it took you this long to come back? Well, you see, now, Elisa cracks up at Bash's reaction, raising her hand with a smile. You did good, Tin Man. Bash's eyes light up at her hand, and she quickly high-fives her, a matching smile on his lips. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And to think you were terrified of her just hours ago. Terrified of me? Preposterous. I'm even shorter than her. I and Elisa snicker at Bash, who does in fact seem like a giant next to the two women. A bashful giant as he rubs a hand on the back of his neck, trying to change the subject desperately. Then to skip through these parts, so it's kind of nice to just slow down and actually read them. Now, I need to tend to this. Don't forget to pick up your trash on the way out. Got it. Mind if we take a look at the maintenance on our way? Be my guest. That's the engineer in Bash speaking. Andromeda Six is his baby. Cal may be the captain, but the ship is Bash's. Lisa twirls the comb between her fingers, watching Bash and I drag Vex away with curiosity. I start to follow open thoughts turning to our host. You really plan on breaking the truce after the canary are gone? It's a bit more complicated than that. Um, hmm. Do I want to pick it or want to leave it up to the day? Because I think this is going to be important later. Yes, but I want to know what will happen to these people. One day they might be my responsibility. We're no one's responsibility but our own. This belongs to no one, and I'll be damned if I let Sobek, Tagasi, or any fucking council try and take advantage of us again. Her eyes freeze me in place with a glacial determination, a far cry from the brazen flirt I'd seen earlier. Elisa speaks like a leader, and it both terrifies and intrigues me to imagine how far she'd be willing to go to defend her planet. And how do you plan on doing that? Independence. Independence from the monarchy, you mean? Exactly. And Dane agrees with this. She gives me a knowing smirk, a certain glint in her eyes. He will. Raise an eyebrow at her, my curiosity peaks. Hang on, are you two? Don't ask. It's complicated. We both chuckle at that. Elisa sighs, turning to face me with bright, uneven eyes. Complicated seems to be a thing with people like us, huh? What do you mean? I can tell something's going on with you. Something on your mind a tad too much lately? Or rather, someone? Now, this is not looking at a romance, but it is hinting at the possibility. And as you can see, I was playing with my finger. You can't see my finger. You can only see my cursor. There's a lot more options than earlier. Aya, Bash, Calderon, Damon, June, Riona, now Vex as well. Or no one. So that means there's a no Romo possibility, which I appreciate. You could have a crush on Elisa or a crush on Zane. I haven't actually picked any of these last three. And I'm not going to this time because I immediately think of Aya, her cheeky smile, her bright eyes, the way she always tries to cheer everyone up, the way she seems to be bearing her own feelings on behalf of others. Hang on. Do something. I apologize if you heard that. Oh, the pilot? Can't say I don't see where you're coming from. She does have a nice set of aspects. Can everyone on Cursor read minds? Of course not, but Damon learned how to read people from me, and his clear as day was the way your eyes went straight to her. I groaned, burying my face in my hands. I can't believe my crush is that obvious. Great, everyone knows. Hardly. That crush is quite thick, if you know what I mean. Don't worry, your secret is safe with me. Thanks. I believe her for some reason. I don't really see her striking up a conversation with anyone from the crew to chat about my love life, or lack thereof. Maybe only Damon, but I also don't believe he would care. You should get going. Pretty sure Kyle is going to be freaking out over Carrot Head. I'll check out the maintenance and we'll let y'all know when it's good to go. Shouldn't be much longer now. Nice meeting you, Your Highness. The tone when she says my dial isn't sincere. It's not threatening. I say she just holds no regards for the royal family, and after what I've seen of Cursa, is it really fair of me to judge her? Lisa left off to the other side of the ship, and I make my way as well. My feet are sore, and my clothes are drying off in weird places. I can't wait to get them off. I head back to the ship for a much-needed break, grabbing a couple of pieces of fruit from the kitchen area and devouring them on my way to my room. After showering and changing into fresh clothes, I went around my room in search of something to do next. Surely we must be leaving soon now that the CD is installed and ready to go. I just stepped off the ship when the muffled sound of a conversation captured my attention. The voices are familiar, and I followed them to a pile of crates, peeking between them for a better look. Curiosity prickles my skin when I notice Damon and Elisa talking on the other side. Odds are they already know I'm here. But then again, it's not like they seem to be trying to have a private conversation given how open the area is. Don't worry, we're almost done. Yes, we're going to eavesdrop. Now, this is slightly different if you picked Damon. I might as well listen in. I think as I shift into a better position, Damon slides something into his pocket, and I can only catch the end of Elisa's sentence. Easy enough. Thanks, I appreciate the help. Could you also look into him for me? Scarehead was, I don't know, he's always been weird, but not like that. Yeah, I noticed. I'll ask for that. Don't worry. You know you owe me, right? Somehow I always owe you something. Then it's a good thing I always need something done. They laughed together, both looking more uneasy than they'd been earlier. Damon even more so. So, still sticking around in Andromeda Six for a while? You sound like you've been spending too much time talking with Typo. They're rubbing off on you. What can I say? They're good gossip. Damon snorts that I only have to guess to know how Lisa found out about me. But yeah, I guess. It's still okay. Can't leave him on his own now. You do know he doesn't keep you around just for that, right? And that things would be a lot easier if you stopped asking around them like you're still in Cursa. Aren't you, though? I am, but you're not. You don't need to come back here, ever. Take the CD, the crew, leave this damn place behind, and don't look back, Damon. Damon lets out a breathy laugh, leaning against the crate, pulling her closer by the hand, wrapping an arm loosely around her waist. And let that asshole have you? Nobody owns me. Don't I know it? But seriously, Zane, of all the people around here, what? He's hot. It has nothing to do with our hatred for each other. Besides, it makes for a great... I don't want to hear it. Do my eyes deceive me, or is Damon rather jealous? I can scarcely believe my eyes when I see the soft flesh that tints his cheeks and the tips of his ears. Damon, cold-blooded assassin with feelings? Now this is getting interesting. I shift my weight on my feet, biting down his lap as I watch Damon struggle to keep it together under Lisa's merciless teaching. Seems like there actually is someone who can one-up Damon. This is adorable. I'd almost forgotten how your ears turn bright red when you blush. I am not jealous. He's just gross. You've been gone for 2 years, Damon. I'm sorry. I tried to leave like you told me to. You're still here. You know I can't leave. Someone has to. I know. I'm just saying. I don't think I can leave you behind, Lisa. You should. How? The minute I turn around, you decide it's a good idea to start dating that asshole. Dating is definitely not the right word. Sleeping with him doesn't make it any better. Oh, we definitely don't sleep. I swear to God, Elisa, trust me and do nothing. I still need that asshole to drive the Tilaari away. Fine, but he doesn't need to put his nasty hands on. Elisa shuts him up with a finger over his mouth, shoulders twitching with poorly contained laughter. Tell you what, if when you're done helping the cruise, you'll feel this way, I'll be waiting. Promise. No, Zane. I promise that too. That's 2 promises you don't have to make. You don't owe me shit. Yes, now I do. Damon, I know. Me too. Damon sighs, leaning down until their foreheads are touching. They close their eyes, just staying there for a minute. Some unspoken conversation only they are privy to. I look away for a moment, my thoughts drift into Aya. Could we ever have something like this? A connection requires no words to be understood. Something that withstands time and distance. Can only hope so. Somehow, seeing them like this gives me hope. I look away for a moment, giving them privacy. It's sweet how time and distance seems to have had no effect on the feelings. Now, if you think of Damon in the earlier conversation with Elisa, the conversation between them here is completely different. Basically, she tells him to stop being an asshole to you and apologize and basically get his shit together. Now, will you stop being a prick to your friends? There's no need to keep your guard up at all times with them. Just be nice. I know, it's complicated. No, it isn't. Here's what I want you to do next time you're not sure if your next words are obnoxious or not. Ask yourself, would Elisa kick my ass for this? He pokes his head again, almost missing when he ducks the second time. Stop poking me. I promise to be nice. I'll try. Lisa narrows her eyes, still considering whether she believes him or not. Apparently settling on yes for an answer. She puts out her hand, smiling when he shakes his head at her. I'll ask one of my people to tell Wanderlust maintenance is almost done. Care to help me out with my office? Damon sorts at the nicknames. I dread being there to see the moment when Damon calls Kitalphan by that, but I'd also hate missing it. Your office, huh? Is that what it's called around here now? Oh no, you said you'd be willing to help me, but you're helping me move some old boxes of tech. Fine, what sort of gentleman would I be if I refused? Lisa rolls her eyes at him, turning to lead away, but Damon pulls her back, wrapping his arms around her once again. Hey, Lisa, thank you for everything. You don't need to thank me, dummy. Yeah, I do. Damon kisses her forehead, throwing his fingers through her hair. She tilts her head up so he can look her in the eyes. I miss you. Miss you too. Master. Damon's cheeks flush again as his eyes start to Lisa's lips. When she smiles back at him, I step back. I turn away, giving him some privacy. I'm happy Damon has someone he cares for like that, and that she seems to care about him just as much. Still a bittersweet feeling, watching them say their goodbyes, unsure of when or even if they'll see each other again. As quietly as possible, I move away from the crates, making my way further into the bunker. Making my way. I step into the corridor and stop by the window, watching the crimson dust crews celebrating amongst themselves. The treaty has been sealed, and though I'm sure the road ahead will be tough, it's a small victory. Tony? A voice pulls me from my solitude, and when I turn, it's to find June striding towards me, his long legs making quick work of the distance. We've barely seen each other since our last conversation, and though I'd assumed he'd been trying to avoid me, it certainly doesn't seem that way now. I don't say anything as he approaches, but I note the way he struggles to meet my eyes, and it stings a little. Can we talk? Of course. He moves against the window, his tiny hair falling into his eyes as he fixes them on the ground. I just wanted to say, I should have pushed you away. I know you weren't to blame for what happened to me. I was overwhelmed. Shakes his head and scoffs, as though that wasn't exactly what he wanted to say, and I wait patiently for him to speak again. The truth is, there's no excuse for the way I acted. Learning who you are opened doors I spent a long, long time trying to close. It brought memories to the surface I never wanted to face again, and I choked from the word, his face anguished. I took it out on you, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Tony. This won't affect the future of your relationship with June, so odd number first option, even number second option. 3. You hurt me for something that had been completely out of my control, and you blamed me for someone else's mistakes. I can't just forget that. You should be sorry, June. I trusted you to be my friend, not to crush me under your boot the way you did. He nods, hanging his head and swallowing hard. I know, and I understand your anger. I'm sure it deserved much worse. But please, let me try to explain. So, I have never picked the first one. And I'm not going to do it now because it will explain a lot about stuff that's coming up. And it just feels bad. Go on. I want to hear what you have to say. I may eventually pick that option, not today. His shoulders sag with relief when I nod, a heavy breath escaping him. I told you about the lapse. What I didn't tell you was his trembling fingers filling with the bracelet on his right wrist. His eyes glisten with unshed tears as he's dragged into what I can only assume are his own memories. Terrifying memories. I know that your family hasn't made you who you are. I could see that from the moment I met you. But for me, it's different. He hesitates, his jaw clenching tight as he summons whatever strength he needs to continue. I was one of them. You what? One of the experiments. His chin trembles, his breath growing ragged, as though he were in physical pain. I dig my fingernails into my shaking palms to keep myself steady, to give him time to talk. I never had a childhood, or any life on Orion. My entire existence had been confined to a lab, an existence mapped out from the very first breath I took. The only joy I had was my brother, Julian. I called him Jules. We were twins in every way except one, and endurance. Daily we were exposed to a substance that pulled from the mind, slowly at first, when we were too young for more invasive procedures, less slowly as we grew older and more resistant to the drugs. I could take it for some reason. My body reacted quicker, easily adapting to whatever they put me through. My muscles were stronger, my reflexes were faster, my emotions more easily controlled. Jules, he couldn't. My heart shatters when June lets out a strangled sound. I watched, terrified, as the tears broke down his cheeks. I couldn't take it. I was so easily controlled, so easily tamed, but he wasn't. They crafted me into a monster. The blood that runs through my veins is tainted with aura night. My very existence poisoned by its presence. Think back on Terranium, when June comes to find you and Riona and stops those guys from attacking you. The one guy is terrified of June and says he's one of them. Pretty sure that's what that guy meant. This is what that guy meant. I'm stronger, faster, deadlier than any human. But that's because I'm not human anymore. They've ruined my brother to turn me into this thing. He half turned, swinging back against the window and taking in a deep, shuddering breath. He was good with his hands, creative, playing. Jules was the kindest soul I'd ever met. I was the strong one, but it was he who had my back. It was Jules who held me as I struggled with my own mind. It was Jules who ignored his own sickness to make sure I was looked after. Jules lowered his head, running his fingers slowly over the bracelet on his right wrist. A sad smile cracked into the constant flow of tears down his cheeks. These bracelets are his handiwork. I took tears when he died. He stares off into the distance, his mind and memories far, far away from me. He never saw the outside of the lab. Never had any friends. Never found love. Life was never his. Never even had a chance. June breaks apart completely, a sob tearing from his lips as he buries his face in his hands. His whole body shakes with every heartbreaking sob, every breath fracturing under the weight of his own memories, of his twin. I hesitate, not knowing how to help him. What could I possibly do to ease pain? And we are not rolling at this here. We are going to hug him because that's what he needs. He needs a fucking hug. I don't think before I act. Stepping closer, I wrap my arms around the sobbing man in front of me and hold him tight. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He doesn't reply, instead wrapping his arms around me in return, his body shaking against mine with every breath he takes. He buries his head on my shoulder, and I realize I'm crying too when I feel the warm tears slowly trailing down my cheeks. I'm almost trying to hear myself. Neither of us speaks for a while. The only sound surrounding us the cries that still fall from his lips and the whispered words of sorrow that pass mine. Yeah, there was if my control of my emotions is a little off, playing certain games, certain moments in games can get to me. How could this have happened? How could my family, other people be treated like experiments? All the suffering, all the misery. I wish I could hug the hurt away from him. I wish I could tear his pain out of him and swallow it myself, only to let him smile for a day. He settles eventually, his sobs calming until he finally catches his breath. His tears still stain my shoulders, but his body no longer shakes in despair. Can I ask you something? Yes. There it is. What about your parents? You mentioned them before, but they were the scientists who experimented on us. Oh no, that's worse. What? A broken sound escapes him, almost a bitter laugh, and his arms tighten around me, as if he needs something to keep himself grounded, to keep his mind here. Yes, we were born for the sole purpose of being their experiments. They actually started while Jules and I were still in the womb. They never loved us, never cared about us as anything other than another experiment. They never even named us. We were just a bunch of numbers. But then where did June and Jules come from? Jules saved me first. Juniper was labeled under a picture of some plant he'd seen around the lab. I didn't quite get it at first, but then I learned of a comet, so bright it lit up the sky, so full of life. His name was Julian. We shortened him after a while, but it was our own little secret. We were more than numbers and data, if only to each other. June pulls back, but still holds me by my arms, his lips trembling as his eyes meet mine. All I see in him is fear. Fear of what I might see in mine after his reveal. Do you see now what I truly am? I'm a monster, Tony. I've been one ever since I was born. Nonsense. June, you're the kindest, bravest, gentlest soul I've ever met, and I will never let you believe otherwise. You are my friend, a dear friend of mine. You saved my life when you didn't even know me. You protected me countless times ever since. You are not a monster, June. June shakes his head, but his eyes soften ever so slightly. You're far too kind to me, Your Highness. My name is Tony. A low chuckle escapes him, and he squeezes me once more affectionately. A lovely name indeed. A deafening siren goes off, stopping us out of the moment. What was that? June turns around, his eyes wildly scanning the hideout. All traces of the tears he'd shed are gone in an instant, his demeanor shifting into one of anger. They're under attack. Stunned, I rush to the window to see for myself. Prince and Dusk are quick to retaliate, all of them running for their weapons and immediately moving towards the invaders. With a chill, I recognize the uniform, the symbol shining on their shoulders. Canary. Fuck. Agreed. We need to get you out of here. Come with me and don't run off, okay? June waits for me to nod before taking off to the docks, and I'm quick to follow. Her footsteps barely audible against the battle sounds from outside. June and I halt on the docks, horrified to see the chaos reigning outside the doors to Crimson's bunker. Bashed for ship-free cords and equipment that had been attached to the ship, with the help of part of Crimson's maintenance crew. Calvin barks orders at Rayon as they leave the storage room in a rush. The glimpse of Vex's webs visible the moment before the door slides closed. Ida barely pays me attention, running up the stairs towards the bridge with Riona hot on her heels, and Calvin jogs towards June and I. What happened? The community breached Crimson's perimeter. The rats are inside the walls. But how did they get into the bunker? Crimson keeps the doors to the main room open for Crimson to take shelter if they need it. You mean there were innocents caught in the crossfire? And where's Damon? Calvin doesn't reply immediately, his hands switching up his blasters. He's helping them. He should be back soon. Okay. First option, even second option. What the? On the floor. 2. Made you falling on the floor all the time. You have to leave. We do. June's response is strained, and the captain gives us a short nod in turn. Both of them want to help, but they know they can't. We can't stay here much longer, risking letting the community find me. The crew is getting to the ship ready. We're leaving as soon as Damon comes back. Like clockwork, hurry steps echo up the ramp to the docks and return to find Damon and Elisa heading towards us. Everything's up there. Bad. We're holding them off, but there are too many civilians in the way. Wish we could stay and help, but... What do you mean you wish? I'm not leaving. Damon. It's okay. I've got this. But backup is on its way. We'll be fine. You know this ain't my first rodeo. Lisa squeezes Damon's arm with a tight-lipped smile before addressing Calvin. I'll make sure none of them follow you from land, but I can't vouch for the fleets that only like we were surrounding Cursa. Head past next, there's an untracked right we use for smuggling. Once they at hyperspeed and activate the CZ, they won't have any hope of following. Sounds risky. We've only just repaired the ship. We don't know how she'll handle it. You won't know until you try. It's the best chance you have of getting out of here. You know the way. I know the way. I can navigate. Very well. June had the guns ready just in case, and had Bash double-check shields and had the CD ready to go. June nods, taking off in a hurry. I trust the CD won't fail us? I'm a woman of my word, Cal. That little beauty will do the trick. Caldron narrows his eyes at her, but seems to trust her. Lisa glances in the direction June had headed often, before turning back to the captain. You'll have a clear lane ending somewhere around Orion. I'm sure the location's not your first choice, but I don't think it'd be such a bad idea to make a pit stop. I hear Zovek's been revamping the assets on the planet. You don't mean the guard. Oh, but I do. I think we both know what he's using the planet for. My blood runs cold at her words. After the runway I just had from June, I'm absolutely not looking forward to visiting it around. So if Zovek is using it to hurt even more people, then maybe, just maybe, there's something we can do to help. I'm just saying, if any of you is particularly fond of fireworks, there's some pretty interesting landmarks to light up around there. I want to check a cargo hold, if you feel like it. Consider it my apology for the trouble you run into on Cursa. Calderon stands as straight as a rod, an unreadable expression on his face. Damon, I know you want to stay and help, but I need your help. Damon's eyes widened. Calderon had always been one to order Damon when he acted out before. Only this hadn't been an order. This isn't asking for help from a friend. Tony, join us on the bridge. Yes, Captain. Loud noise draws our attention back outside, and heavy footsteps pound up the ramp. Can't believe you started the party without me. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Zane makes his way over to us, the sword dog joining forces with the Crimson Dusk outside to fly out the Tilaari, testimony to the truce the two gangs had agreed on. Gives me a knowing look, winking before he grins at Elisa, an enormous weapon, the size of a rocket launcher, strapped to his back, and a pistol at his side. Barging in ain't really classy of you, is it? When you're packing a big gun, sometimes a grand entrance is warranted. Trying to overcompensate things? Haven't had any. Is this really the time? Damon and Zane both shut up, the latter clearing his throat loudly. Zane, I need you to take the lower floor. I'll take my crew upstairs, and we'll work our way to the middle so we can squash those filthy roaches once and for all. Sounds fun. I'll meet you halfway then. Works, Damon. See you around. With a quick nod, Zane leaves, barking orders at his crew as he joins the fight. Damon, you should get going, now. Damon turns to her, his features twisted in a mix of emotions I can't pinpoint. I don't want to leave you. Certainly not with him as backup. Please, I can handle Zane in my sleep. I'd rather you didn't. Don't make me shoot you again to get your sorry ass out of here. Your friends need you, Damon. You have to go. I know, Lisa. Don't die on me now. Lisa smiles at Damon as she shrugs, not making him any promises. She spreads Calvin and I a nod before heading up. He barely notices when Calderon lays a hand on his shoulder, giving a second a soft look as he watches Elisa leave. We leave in 5, meet us on the bridge. Damon sighs, forcing himself to turn towards the ship. I'll be there. I've never seen Damon so shaken up, yet so loyal to the crew that he'd be willing to let Elisa go without as much as a proper goodbye. Glad to see him act so vulnerable. Let's go, Tony. This is a bit more. We're getting close to the end, don't worry. We make our way upstairs to find the ship ready to go as the crew finishes the preparations. I listens intently to Calhoun's instructions for departure, her smile widening at the challenge the right advice by Lisa poses. I take a seat and buckle in, staring at the navigation screen in front of me. Ready for your navigation crash course? What, now? I'm kidding, no way am I a newbie guide me this time around. It's too dangerous. But keep an eye on the monitor. The best way to learn is by seeing it all firsthand. I'll ask you to keep all the questions until after we've lost the tail, but feel free to take notes. Hope you're ready for the ride of a lifetime, hot stuff. Aya faces forward in her seat, focusing on the takeoff, when Bash's voice rings from the comm device. We're good to go here, Captain Shields. Are A-OK in the setup on the CD? Boy, I would go on for days. June's on standby with the guns, and Damon's got the stock sealed up. We're ready for takeoff. Everyone, we're taking off. Prepare yourselves for a bumpy ride. Calvin gives me a sharp nod, and I turn to focus on the screen in front of me, determined to absorb as much information as I can. The ship roars to life around us, the speed with which we take off, pushing me back into my seat, and just like that, we leave Cursa, rushing back into the vast, dark expanse of space. I can talk really. It's just 2 hours. This is taking a while. It's a lot, but worth it. Damon hits the panel beside the storage room, and when the door opens, we're met by that strange, so small Alexis as he leans against the back wall. We've made it outside safely and find ourselves needing to take care of a little problem before we get much further. Damon steps forward, Bash lingering at his side for support. Finally, we get to catch up, Senator. Beck leans against the sidewall, fully unfazed by the entire ordeal. I'd say I've been looking forward to it, Resnet, but that'd be a lie. Damon snickers, stepping towards the redhead while Bash and I hang back near the door. He glanced nervously at Bash to find his red eye fixed on Beck, glowing intently. I wonder what he's seeing right now. So Zovak pinned the task of snipiness on you. He sure does love giving you all and shitty jobs, doesn't he? I'd say he gives me the easy ones, so I'm not complaining. Vex's eyes fell on me and my chest tightened, bile rising in my throat. Damon hushed a laugh, a shadow darkening his features. And yet you failed anyway. What a surprise. Sarcasm drips from his words, thick and deliberate, so Vex only smiles at me wider, and an uneasiness settles in my gut. So, who else is following us? If you tell me, I'll make it a quick step. Vex doesn't answer, instead keeping his eyes locked on mine, and as much as I want to look away, I can't. The smile fades from his lips, replaced instead with a dark stare. But there's something strange about his eyes. Something hard and unnatural. Damon looks between the two of us before clicking his tongue, waving a hand towards me. You're a distraction. You need to leave. But nothing. Bash. Come on, Tony. With an apologetic look, Bash ushers me from the room, letting the door close behind us. Once outside, I lean against the wall and fold my arms over my chest, too annoyed to say anything. It doesn't seem to matter, though, as Bash keeps his bionic eyes firmly fixed on the storage room door. I'm sure that he could see everything that's happening inside. I vaguely wondered if he could have seen inside my room when leaving his drawings attached to my door. I quickly dismissed the thought. Bash isn't one to invade someone's privacy like that. We wait in silence for a few long minutes before the door finally opens and Damon emerges, his face like thunder. No luck, then? No bloody luck is right. Someone who used to love running his mouth. He's learned how to keep it shut at the worst of times. Damon runs a hand through his dark hair, letting out a heavy breath. Try again later, and next time I'll be less friendly. I need to talk to him. I move towards the room, but Damon shoots an arm at, stopping me. Are you kidding? We'll be removing you from that room in a body bag. Go back, stop. You don't know him like I know him. And you don't know him like I know him. He's dangerous. Okay, so I'm not going to pick the middle option. So, odd number, first option, even number, third option. 2. You might talk to me. What do you need to know? No, actually not. You're not going in there. Yes, I am. You said yourself you need that information, but this is how you're going to get it. Damon looks at Bash for backup, who simply shrugs and throws me an impressed smile. You two are just as bad as each other. If it works, it works. How badly do you need that information? Damon reins his anger in, speaking through gritted teeth. We need to know if anyone else is coming for us. Easy. Stop staying in place when I move forward, giving me a severe look. One of us should go with you. No, I'll do it alone. Damon and Bash exchange a look, seeming less than happy about the prospect. But I think I'll shout that from you. He won't hurt me. I move towards the door, and this time Damon stopped me. I have the intention of finding out what Damon needs to know. There's more that I want to hear from Vex. Feeling my nerves, I take a deep breath before stepping into the room. I need to know why he did what he did if I have any hope of healing from this. It takes a moment for me to look at Vex after the door slides shut behind me, locking us in together with an ominous click. He sits back against the wall, his face blank, devoid of emotion, of any indication that he sees me. A bitter taste settles in my mouth. So, guide D6, 1 or 4, first option, 2 or 5, middle option, 3 or 6, last option. That doesn't count, that slipped out of my hand. 2. Vex, are you alright? Oh, look, I decided to send my last meal already. What do you mean? He completely ignores my question, but his reply seems half-hearted. I ignore the nausea that goes in my stomach. This isn't the time for that. I have to talk to you. Alone. Yet another stupid move. Congratulations. I'm even more stupid than that there, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised. We were against it, but I know you. I know you. Everybody thinks they know everybody. Things haven't quite worked out as they're planned, have they? He doesn't know you like I do. Neither of you know me. Just strikes the wall beside him, and I jump, startled by its sudden outburst. I struggle to keep myself steady, to understand how this man in front of me, that I once believed meant so much, can now be so different. What did you say to get Damon riled up like that? It's easy to get to if you know which buttons to press. It takes a lot to do that. You'll have to ask him. I never ratted on an old friend. That didn't seem to stop you before. He scoffs, cutting short whatever he was feeling just moments ago. Then he doubles over, his eyes shut tight and his breathing increasing by the second, as if he were in pain. He struggles against the bonds around his wrists, his skin going pale and sickly. Okay, same as before. 1 and 4, first option. 2 and 5, no option. 3 and 6, last option. 4. Do you need help? Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Ignore him. If he's hurting, then that's his problem. I don't care, and maybe I'll make him more susceptible to give me a straight answer. He manages to straighten himself up, slowly exhaling as he reins himself in. I need to ask you some questions. As you wish, Your Highness. Sarcasm coats his words, but it's the change in his expression that makes me pause. One moment he's overflowing with anger, the next his eyes are drawing in sadness, and I can't quite figure out what's going on with him. What happened to the playful, crafty boy from my past? Are there any other Khmer looking for the clue? I don't know. Yes, you do. Maybe, maybe not. There could always be someone following you. Bex, please, I need to know if we're still at risk of being followed. He shrugged, stretching into a smirk when he enforced my question. I let out a sigh. It looks like Damon was right. I won't get anything out of him. I just have one last question. Why did you do it? What? Betray me, lie to me, use me. The smile fades, a storm raging in his eyes that I can't make any sense of. But once again, I'm met with silence. Frustration bubbles up inside of me. I slam my hand against the crate next to me. Can't you just be honest with me for once in your life? His lips twist into a scowl, eyes squeezing shut as he doubles over with a groan once again. I don't understand what's wrong with him, but this isn't the Bex I knew. Okay. 1 and 4, first option. 2 and 5, second option. 3 and 6, third option. 5. Bex, what happened to you? This, whatever this is, it isn't you. It isn't. How do you know? Swords cut deep. How do I know? Where does the certainty come from? He has given me proof again and again to believe that this is the real him, and yet I don't. I don't know how. I just do. You have no idea how much it hurts when the one person who swore to always be there for me was the one to take everything away. His eyes widen, a flash of his old self shining through. But still, I can't believe this. Something is wrong. I can see it in your eyes. I don't believe that this is you. My voice cracks on the last words. I take a shaky breath to try and compose myself. I can barely speak. I can't handle this. Not right now. Not like this. I don't know what happened to him or what makes me so adamant that this is some sort of ruse. I know that when he looks at me like that, it's impossible to believe otherwise. Just tell me one thing. Bex blinks, look at me as though it was the first time. Where were you? The week thing after the coup, you disappeared without a word. Where were you, Bex? By the time Wayne Bex squeezes his eyes shut as another wave of pain washes over him, so I waited out. I don't know. He fights out the words between strangled breaths as if they pain him too much to speak. And yet I believe him. And yes, there were others in my unit following your crew under my command. They've most likely lost you by now. Getting the CD was a smart move. As long as you manage to shake them off on Cursor, you should be safe. There are no other trackers on the ship. I'm surprised by how forthcoming he said my being, but when he leans back against the wall, breathing hard, I wonder if maybe he just said that because he wants to be left alone. Heaving a sigh, I make my way to the door, ready to let the crew know what Bex has said. I'm ready to put whatever is going on with him behind me, if only for now. Tony? I freeze, my hand hovering over the panel beside the door. Bex hasn't said my name like that in so long. Memories tug at my heart as I look over my shoulder, finding him still staring at the ceiling, his face unreadable. I never told him. What? So vexed. About you. My orders were to secure a way in and out of the palace. He didn't care how, so I never told him. A few weeks before the attack, he asked me, said I was different. I still didn't tell him. A myriad of emotions fight for dominance within him, his eyes shadowed by agony before he buries his face against his bound hands. What does that mean? Nothing. Maybe. I don't know. Just, you should have shot me when you had the chance. He groans, his eyes coming back to the ceiling with a finality that says this conversation is over. It's time for me to go. I try to push away this part of our conversation. Does he need Joe back to know about me? But I didn't, at least. I don't understand it, any of it. And sadly, it seems like I'm not getting more out of him anytime soon. As I step back to the door, the last thing I hear is his muffled voice ringing out from the back of the room. What's wrong with me? The door slides shut, and the weight of the encounter slides from my shoulders, and I'm in stare. What is wrong with you, Vex? Gathering all the strength left in me, I wave off Bash and Dan, telling them I need a minute before heading upstairs. I need the solitude. Vex's conversation had been intense. The mood swings, the cryptic words, the setting back and forth. I don't know what to think about any of it. If nothing else, I'm sure the crew will be happy to know we aren't being followed anymore. I can deal with the rest of it later. I'm washing glass and making my way back to the bridge, ready to report on what Vex had just told me. It hadn't been much, but it's more than what we knew before. I gazed just out the window to the vast expanse of the universe beyond it. The roaring of the ship's engine and the only sound around me, acting as white noise as I try to muffle out my screaming thoughts. Nice view, isn't it? Damon's voice startles me, my thoughts fading to smoke in his presence. Can't you walk like a man for once? It'd be nice to hear you coming. Damon snickers when I realized what I said. I rolled my eyes at him. Oh, grow up. I didn't mean it like that. Yeah, whatever you say. I folded my arms over my chest, giving him an impatient look. Is there a reason you're disturbing me? The way he smiles makes it clear how much he enjoys teasing me. His grin slowly fades, however, and he leans against the window with his hands in his pockets. I wanted to talk about something. Got a minute? You want to know what Beck said? I was just on my way back to the bridge. It's not that. Then what is it? Things haven't been easy between us since I revealed who I truly am, so I can't help but wonder what he could possibly want with me. Catch. He gives me no time to think before he reaches into his pocket and tosses something at me without warning. Okay, this is kind of fun. So we're going to 1 and 4 first option, 2 and 5 second option, 3 and 6 last option. 3. Let me flex my hand straight out and catch the object midair. Played a lot of catching that glass of yours, huh? I was blessed with past reflexes. Sure you were. Damon shakes his head, but I can tell he doesn't quite believe it. I ignore him, opening my hand and staring at the object in the center. In my hands is music box. My music box, the one I had given him earlier today to sell. But I bet you thought it was long gone. I did. I asked you to sell it. Didn't need one. Open it. In the center stands a perfectly rendered holographic ballerina, throwing to its own sad lullaby. I stare at it in disbelief, watching the tiny dancer spin around and around. The cogs turn like a well-oiled machine. The light that flickered before now shines brightly. I wasn't sure if that's what it was supposed to do, but it was the best they could do to fix it. Now, if you look up here, there's an NLP. That's Marissa Tagasi. And obviously, I'm assuming the L is her middle initial. I don't know if people remember, but before, this was glitching. It wasn't a ballerina. No, it's perfect. I once formed to my throat. Memories of Marissa flood my mind, forcing me to bite both inside my cheek in order to hold back my emotions. But how did you pay for the CD if you didn't sell it? I have my ways. I don't know what he means by that, and I'm not sure I want to. All I know is I have no idea how I'm going to repay him for this. Why did you do this? Damon sighs, rolling his shoulders and running a hand over the back of his neck. An apology. I should have said what I did about handing you over to Zilvac. The old me would have done it in a heartbeat, but I don't want to be the old me anymore. I want to be better than that. You could have just said you were sorry. You didn't have to go through all this trouble. People who know me don't usually take my word for things like that, and words are cheap. But for what it's worth, I am sorry. And not leaving it up to the dice. A word spreads through me, and I can't help but smile. This certainly isn't what I'd expected from Damon. Apology accepted. I suppose I'm looking forward to working with you from now on. Damon laughs at my reaction, shaking his head as he runs a hand through his dark, messy hair. Well, aren't you a surprise? We are going to work together, like it or not. I simply don't see the point of being on bad terms with each other. You know, as long as you don't offer to sell me out again. Don't worry, I don't sell out my crewmates. Time. Can't stop myself. Closing the distance between us with the last step, I wrap my arms around him. What the? Thank you, Damon. His chest trembles with laughter, but though I expect him to push me away, he hugs me back, rubbing my back softly as he holds me. I truly never expected to see this music box again. Yeah, it didn't seem like something you should just sell for a stupid ship part, so I figured, why not? How did you even manage to get it fixed? I might have had some help. Elisa? Yeah, wow, did she give me crap for what I did or what? As long as I recall the conversation between them, surely got to him by the looks of it. You can get pretty much anything on Cursus, yet a guy who could fix this yet treat it. Do not try to break it again, will ya? I'm not making any promises. Damon's easy smile shifts into a mischievous grin. Work a step back, he technically called on me with one hand, the other hand moving to my waist, dangerously slow. Oh no, I can see where this is going. Damon, don't you dare. He tries to tickle me, but I worm my way out of his reach with wide eyes while he cracks up in laughter again. Are you ticklish, Your Highness? You will never know. Challenge accepted. Bounce us to the side as if he were about to lead us to the bridge, but I reach for his arm, drawing his attention back. She'll be fine. What? Elisa, I don't think you should worry too much. His expression wavers, eyes downcast, until I try to draw his laugh. He doesn't say it, but I see the worry. Some things are easier said than done, Tony. Anyhow, if you ever need to talk, I'm here for you. Thanks. That goes both ways. So wait then, by the time we head to the bridge, pretty sure everyone is curious as to how your little chat with Carrot Head went. Why do you call him that? Now, I know you don't need me to answer that. Anyway, here we are. Damon opens the door to the bridge, stepping in ahead of me. I pause and take in a deep breath before following him, letting my previous conversation with Vex crashing down on me again. It's time. We're almost done. I swear, this is really long. The entire crew is gathered on the bridge when I enter, Damon heading over to stand with Calderon and June. Anna gives me a quick smile when she catches my eyes, helping to ease my jittery nerves from my conversation with Bex, still fresh on my mind. So, did you get anything out of that old friend of yours? And who exactly is he? Beneath the eyes of the crew, I decided it's best to just get it over and done with. He used to be my guard in the past. He was one of the only people that bothered listening to me, spending time with me, and we were friends. Flashes of the time we spent together rushed to the forefront of my mind. Sneaking out of the palace, all the stories about his travels, the plans we made to visit all those places together, every joke and conversation we had, was all helped me to sneak into. His hands on mine, the storm kisses and dark passages, the promises of a better life, a life together. I can't keep that from them. I can't hide it anymore. We were more than friends. A loud scoff draws my attention, and I see Aya shift on the spot. A small pout on her lips. She whispers just loud enough that I overhear it. Bastard didn't know what he had. Small smile tugs at my lips at her reaction. She has nothing to worry about, if I'm being honest. I hope I'll get the chance to talk to her about it later. I pushed the memories away. That was then, and this is now. He didn't tell me much, but I did learn we had been followed. We had a unit with him when he landed on Cursa, but odds are we've lost him now that we have the CD. There were no other trackers on the ship. I got out of breath, Bex's last words echoing in my mind. Anything else? My mouth goes dry, chest tight with concern and endless doubts, but I can't lie to the crew. He said he'd never told Sovak about me. What does that mean? I'm not sure. He couldn't explain it. His job was to scout the class, every in and out of it, regardless of the means. That's how he got assigned as a guard, but being assigned to me sounds like a coincidence, maybe. If that would be true, only the more prominent members of the family had specially assigned guards. No offense. None taken. I'm well aware of it. He's not lying. Sovak never cared about the how as long as he got the job done. It means justify the ends at its finest. But if he never told Sovak about you, then how is it that he knows you're alive and with us? I frowned, trying to piece it all together, grasping at straws. Something's off about Vex. Damon's words catch my attention, and I realize he's right. His eyes have been empty, behavior erratic. He sounds like any other Chimera come to me so far. No, there's something iffy there. I talked to Lisa about it, and she's supposed to ask around for me. Do you have any idea what it could be? Damon nods, throwing a side glance at June before answering me. Sovak had this doctor he picked up on Cursa. A real creep if you ask me. Guys rocks off by using people as lab rats. June tenses, but remains silent while Damon speaks. He and Sovak became close. Rumor has it they were working on something. Something big. Wherever Sovak goes, he goes too. Odds are he's on Goldus with the king himself. How is this doctor related to Vex? It reeks of his work, stripping memories, feelings, emotions, turning subjects into empty puppets, ready to be filled with a new identity. That's one of the worst things you could do to someone, in my opinion, is take away who they are, take away their choice. A couple of weeks before the coup, Vex disappeared. I asked him about it, but it's like he doesn't remember. And he seems to be struggling with his own emotions, though he goes from one to the other. I let my words hang in the air, the agony in his voice still echoing in my ears. You think he messed with Vex's biological structure? Would it justify his actions, Riona? Riona hesitates before speaking, furrowing her brows in thought. It might. It's extremely risky, messing with a brain like that. An invasive procedure such as this one could have serious risks and side effects, but I'd have to do some research before sure. But if it worked, it would justify the gaps in his memory as well as any mood swings. If anything, that he has mood swings alone would serve as an indication that the procedure wasn't perfect. Okay, not going to roll a dice for this one. When I spoke with him, he seemed to be in pain. Damon and Rihanna exchanged a look, and even I wonder why I felt the need to add that. He had hurt me. Why can't I just let him hurt as well? I can't tell, but it doesn't seem like it's fair of me to make that choice. If someone has mistakes to own up to, they should do it with a clear mind. While I don't particularly feel like helping a rogue Chimera, he could be useful if he cooperates. And who knows, maybe there's more to this than we know. Would you look into it, Riona? Of course, let me know as soon as you hear back from Elisa on the subject. Any information helps. Excuse me, I'll get started on it now. Teller nods at Riona, who takes off the bridge in a hurry, already deep in thought. A seed of hope sparks in my chest. For what? I'm not sure. But I hope Riona finds something. Maybe then I'll be able to solve the mystery of Vex. Now that we've cleared that up, I want everyone to be aware of our status. We successfully dodged the Chimera trail, nearly evaded the range of a baby black hole, and are ready to engage hyperspeed thanks to my awesome skills. What I mean is we're safe for now and ready for our next destination. The CD is working perfectly as state-of-the-art tech. It can shield us from most of the radars out there. As long as we don't run straight into anyone, we should be able to maneuver our way through Chimera fleets. The downside is that it uses a lot of power, and we don't have the biggest engine in the system, so it's not going to last long. I'll spare you the gruesome details, so suffice to say that either we find some place to land and recharge in around a week, or we'll be stranded in space. That sounds like a problem. Do we have a plan for what's next? We do. It's far from ideal, but it's the only option. Tyler nods at Damon, who quickly types something on the monitor next to him. A large green and blue planet appears on the screen. Are you saying if we continue on our path, we'll end up somewhere near Orion? The signs of cells over the room is palpable. Tension so thick it could be cut with a butter knife. No, there has to be another option. We don't have another option. The closest stop we'll have is Orion. We'll need to refuel and prepare for whatever comes next. And what exactly do you plan on doing there? Just waltz in and take a rest? You know damn well it doesn't work that way. If you just calm down and let me explain, we're working on a plan. June doesn't respond, his face still twisted in frustration as he waits for the captain's explanation. Silverback has taken control of the Oronite mines and allows us to accompany them. I'm sure we all know what that means and what he's doing to his soldiers. I'm not sure, Captain. We're learning from June. I can hazard a guess. Prospect makes me shiver, but I need to face this head on. Once we're done here, I'll try asking for more information. Crimson does snuck explosives into our cargo hold. While it's obvious how an attack on Silverback's Oronite supply will benefit them, sure we can all see how it would be beneficial for us as well. So that's the plan. Reach Orion and start tearing evil from its roots. Okay. Odd number first option, even number second option. 3. It sounds like a good plan. It's the best we can do right now. We have to start somewhere, I suppose, and anything that cripples Silverback will have got to be worth it. Rather nods, seeming pleased I see the importance of such things. June still doesn't seem convinced, but the green glow disappears from his eyes, resignation taking hold of him instead. June, you understand the opportunity this provides. I do, but may not appreciate it. His voice falters, the same green flash brightening in his eyes for the briefest moment. Excuse me. We watch as the gunman leaves the bridge. It seems everyone knows his past, a subject far too delicate for anyone other than the captain to try and dissuade him. Would you check on him? Of course. I leave the bridge swiftly, and I'm glad June won't be alone. I understand how hard it must be for him to go back to Orion. That's what we must do. Can only hope that he'll feel better soon. We need him. Oh, that was all so touching. Wait, what? Where's he coming from? What the hell? The voice I'm far too familiar with echoes around us, flash pales at the sound, completely caught off guard, while Calderon scowls. Damon, on the other hand, seems close to laughter. Lovely plan, I must admit, but there is one tiny problem. Why is the voice coming from nowhere, not freaking you all out? What if it's a ghost? Because it's not coming from nowhere, it's coming from the comms. No ghost, just me. The door to the bridge slides open, Vex striding in, and leaning against the doorframe with a smug smile curling his lips. Calderon immediately has his hands on his glasses, but upon noticing Vex's unarmed, hesitates slightly. But wouldn't you... Sebastian, didn't you check his restraints? Of course I did. I knew I should have trusted you to tie him up. Go downstairs and check the damage this idiot has probably done. Now. Flash eyes under the withering glare of the captain, dropping his head while quickly making his way outside. Vex rolls a comm device in his hand, shrugging. I was minding my own business until I overheard you all prattling on like a bunch of schoolgirls. On our way to Orion, are we? We are. You are on your way back to your makeshift cell. Now, Cal, we shall at least hear Carrot Head out. He's not entirely useless. What could he possibly have to offer us? I can get you onto Orion. Safely, I might add. My voice is going. This is the very last bit, I promise. Why would you want to do that? That's what I thought to me, the smirk on his face faltering. His eyes glaze over, but he shakes his head and focuses back on the captain and his second in command. I have personal business to attend to there. When that is best done without so much knowledge. Going behind your master's back hardly makes you a trustworthy dog. He's not. Vex's face twitched strangely and his eyes twitch. All of us, even Calderon, look at him with a mix of concern and curiosity, watching warily as his jaw tightens and he seems to fight off whatever's in his own mind before he speaks again. I have no master. A moment of silence passes, the captain silently weighing the pros and cons of the offer. We will discuss the terms of this arrangement. Damon, he does not leave your sight. Yes, sir. Calderon glares at Vex, lips twisting in a snarl as he storms off the bridge. It takes me a heartbeat to realize I'm currently alone on the bridge with the two, probably, most deadly people on this ship. Thank you, Captain. Welcome aboard, Sarah. And we're done. Whew. That took longer than I thought it would. One more chapter. And the next chapter is the last one of this. I think this is the version without the next chapter. But, so here's the music box, and you first look at it. You can see that the image is distorted. And it's really glitching. And then here it is after it's been repaired. There is one more chapter, regardless of what happened there. So yeah, one more chapter next week, and then the week after that, a couple DLCs that I'm gonna go ahead and stream. And the DLCs you have to pay for. The game itself is free. Yeah, the DLCs are how they pay for the development of the game itself. So after the DLCs, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. It depends on how some other things are going. There is a game that someone else is a very first one, and it's from the artwork. But it sounds interesting, and then we're going to go ahead and stream that. So probably do that once I finish the DLCs for Andromeda 6. And then we'll go from there. So until next week, take care, everyone, and I hope you have a good week. Bye.